Hi, Everett. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm under the weather today, so I hope other guys will join me so they can take over. I went through a lot, but anyway, it's good. Ansu, come on and come on. Ansu, you on live. Ansu, 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 you muted. Yeah, Ansu, how's everything? How's everything with you?
So good. Thank you. I'm fine. Tomalin, how's up with you?
I'm not too well, man. I'm going through a lot. The fever, the cold. You see my lip, the blister, everything. Yes, I'm not too well at all, but we have to do
That's
have to do the
that's yeah.
people's job. Yeah, but it's good to be back on the closing argument. I hope my colleagues can comment so we can get this going. But how's everything? What's new on your end? What's new on your end?
Why? Everything from my side is good. It's just that we're still running and monitoring normal activities back here from the government. As may be aware that the the president set up uh, a task force team in terms of uh, to crack down corruption. So there's a task force team he set up in before leaving for Africa. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
President left articles today, right?
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, the issue of the fire issue in Liberia is getting very very serious again. Today, somewhere in the Pinsville Belt, one of the community school there again. Uh, the, the parents and instructors were just so smart as we learned that the the school authorities started experiencing smoke in the building.
Wow.
Yeah, so the parents were very fast to get on the campus to get the students to get the kids out.
Wow. Which school was that?
That's the it's a Bishop Matthew. Yeah, Bishop Matthew School. That's the school name. It's somewhere in the Dubo Road belt. Bishop Matthew Norwood High School. It's somewhere down in the Dubo Road, just before the reaching the Dubo Road Market, right after the Truth FM compound. It's just about 2 minutes, maybe drive, or the minute drive from Truth FM compound to that school.
And there was a fire outbreak.
No, I think they started experiencing smoke. The smoke took the entire building, and which led to over 20 of the students indeed. Yeah, went unconscious. 20 of the students because of the smoke. So that took the entire compound today. But there was no fire. I think what happened is the authority of the school just started to see this, heavy smoke, and they were able to this put it under control.
Wow. But talking about the fire, I'm very disappointed though because they fired the guys are left from here. The fire chief guys are left from here. I'm told
Mhm.
they are disappointed right now. I haven't spoken to them, but from a reliable source, I heard that they are very disappointed. They are planning to help Liberia, help the country, but the guy who was the fire chief, Dixon, that was removed this week.
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy they have been working along with. They have been
Yeah.
grooming this guy, helping him a lot. President Weah kept him, and when he took over
Yeah.
and working with it, they have promised to help the Boga administration. But now, when they did the latest appointment that was done and removed this guy and brought somebody different who has no idea about fire science and appointed them, they are discouraged. They are not happy at all.
Mm.
They are I'm informed that they are going to they are even thinking about just forgetting about Liberia until Liberia is ready to take care of fire issues. They are very very disappointed, and especially they gave their advice, they gave their counsel, and said that I mean this I mean, people within who they have trained to be elevated, but now they are not happy at all, and they are very disappointed. And so as a result, they are completely. I heard that they are going to be writing the president to tell him about the disappointment about the recent appointment at the fire bureau. They imagine people were wanted to help, and the people gave advice, and then the president he did not even consider. And these are his friends, though, people who the president been dealing with prior to becoming president. They went to they were invited for his inauguration, went there and all, and then they met and they gave their counsel, gave their advice, the expertise advice, and then the president ignored and appointed. And they advised that places that the fire bureau is not a place to appoint partisan, somebody who's a partisan. No, somebody who knows the job, who they have grown.
That's a professional. That's a professional era where you think someone who knows the job.
You see, and because of that, they are disappointed. And you see, even in the great United States, the places like the Secret Service, the president don't have that. The president, it's so organized in a way that as soon as the president takes over, the Secret Service already organized. They gave him his security detail. Even Trump, although Trump can be attacking, causing Biden, but his Trump guy is security detail for life until maybe if he's convicted and he put to jail before they'll leave him. Yeah. Right now, he goes around cussing. He's still protected. They gave him Secret Service and protection, and that's what they do. But what happened? The guys are not happy at all. They are very.
And Tommy is one of the major things back home here. Liberians, the coming of this government, especially with this rescue mission stuff here, seeing where people have worked over the past years in the past administration, looking at the work, I think they do expect them to look at the track records. If you do see that, this individual, a certain area, looking at the type of work that they have carried on, looking at the type of work that they have done, looking at the type of transformation that they have carried on to some of the institutions. I think you're just building up from there. You just, just move on with the team. So, looking at it, people see like maybe these people maybe they just giving job out. Even if this area here, the person have even transformed that place, have been massive work. That place is providing income for government. But that's just see as a system where because I come in my own tell you what comes in, I have to change this other group and put in another group in. So whether this man is doing the right thing, we have to move in from there and then put in our own person into that area. So the way he's saying it's a professional area when it comes to fire issue. And Dixie has been to that place for a very long time. The past president worked along with him. So looking at I think his past work and professionally is why his partners, international partners who train him, decided to just continue with him, even though this government come in, they can meet up with this government here and say, this man he been trained, and let's just keep on. Let's just keep working on. So if those areas, even where you appointing people, if they have even done the work, you ain't changing them. So it goes to the 10 years era. So the entire system, they're seeing like I think that maybe they're just providing job for people. That's why they are Liberians. But even those that are covering this rural area, who occupy the rural city, they are Liberians too. And they have transformed this rural area. They are working to this rural area. They are providing income from government. Some of the areas are even providing no revenue. Nothing was coming from there. Nothing was coming from there.
Yes, it's so sad. It's so sad. It's so sad. It's very sad. And in fact, I would say yes. The tenure issue. I just spoke to Kwame Clement before I got on the show. In fact, he told me he's no more with USAID anymore because he said when he was at USAID, his hands were tied. Nothing he couldn't even take part in the discourse. But he's now with USAID no more. He's into the private sector now, and he's looking forward to joining coming on our show in the coming weeks. So Kwame Clement will join us. He wrote a very good piece on the tenure issue, and I hope the president and the government can take note of it. And right now there are lots going on, and too much things happening, and to the extent where Um, um, yeah, so a lot of things happening right now, and that's we need to just we don't know what to say, but you talk to people who are involved with the rescue team. They were involved in the rescue team, and now they are discouraged. But they say in the background, uh, they say in the background that what's going on, they're not happy. Uh, uh, so, but we just gotta we're just looking at what's going to happen in the coming weeks.
Yeah, yeah. To
Yeah,
see, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. How do you see this task force team being established by the president in the where he says that the task force being mandated to identify and prosecute senior government officials, whether biased current government officials indeed. This task force team being established by the president at the moment.
yeah. And so I mean, I welcome it. It's a good thing, but here's the thing, though. It shouldn't just be selective. It shouldn't be a
Okay.
witch hunt. That's why uh I pray Senator Amara Conner will break his silence on it, because President We Are Try, he set up this very committee in 2019. And President We Are set it up at the time he wasn't senator, but Amara Conner came up blasting at President We Are. He said that it was a witch hunt, and that and he pushed back against it. So now the issue is good. Some people acquire wealth overnight. Like for instance,
Hmm.
if I declare
Hmm.
my asset before taking office, and I said I had 5,000 in the bank, I had one car, one house, and then in the next 6 years, I got apartment complexes that on rent. I got guest house on rent. I got 4 or 5 cars. These cars cost one of the cars costs about $20,000. Yes,
Hmm.
my lifestyle change. Yes, you have right to in serving the public interest. You have right to question me, to find out for me how I acquired this wealth. That's why Councillor Gonglo, when he was running, he said he would have called for a, a lifestyle audit. Yes, if Ansu taking office, you declare your
Hmm.
asset. After a year, we'll see you driving a car that costs $50,000. We see this billing, say for Ansu Salif, the billing that costs almost $100,000.
Yeah.
Now, it's right to call for a lifestyle audit. Tell me how you acquire this thing over the last year or so. So President Bogas setting up that committee is good, but he shouldn't just stop there. He should go deeper. Go start from the early administration too. Okay, go for their administration and ask people how they acquired their wealth. So we'll see what happens. We want to see who you're going to appoint to head the asset recovery and committee. It's a good idea. When President Weah started, he appointed Arthur Johnson and others on it. When he started going after people who make noise, and then later on they back off from it. But it's a good thing, but it shouldn't be selective and targeted. That's all. It should be should be make sure everyone involved. Everyone should be part of it, so that those who are culpable should be exposed. But that's
Hmm.
just is just should not, because some people got wealth overnight, and it's questionable. Yes, you can have JFK suffering from a ventilator machine, and you got
Yeah.
people who just took office and they never had nothing, but then they got overnight wealth. And it's not fair, you know. It's a good thing, but again, just don't make it targeted, be selective. Peabody and Julius, welcome, man. Welcome, guys.
Good to be here, man. Always good to be here. Good to be here, brother. Good to be here. Uh,
Yeah.
yes, I see you talking about the president's uh, intention to go after those who assets recovery and all of that. I think I side with all of you guys. I think it is important that the president make this transparent, possible as he can. I would hope that he can go back from like 2015 to the present. Because there are a lot of people in uh, the previous Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government, President Salif government, that earned wealth overnight. So I hope he can go back. As to how far he can go back, I believe if you go back from like 2015 up, it will be a good thing. I mean, people will not say he's trying to witch hunt him, but I think it's a good thing. I believe it's about time that people, the other day, I was driving to work and I asked myself, why would somebody leave $120,000 job and go to Liberia and
Okay.
say he wants to work for $2,000 a month, a $24,000 a year job? You live in 100,000 salary, and you go into Liberia and say you want to work to make 24,000 in the name of serving your country. But at the end of the day, these guys are rated as some of the most corrupt ever. They are caught in a lot of corruption. They are building mansions and all of that. So how do you get that money? You say, "Oh, I'm going home. It's all for the love of the country, the love for the country." But I still don't understand. How would you take about almost $60,000 pay cut to go live in Liberia to make $2,000 a month? We see a lot of people here. Some of them I can't call the name. I see some of them in Monrovia now. A couple of months ago, they were all over. Oh, I'm making 180,000. I make this. You know how much I make? But you go in Monrovia to go take a deputy EPS job that will not pay you good $2,000. So you gotta follow the motive of these people rushing into Monrovia and going there in the name of the country. You got to follow the motive their plan because that's what we have seen over and over. They go back home, and the next thing they are rich overnight, they build a home. So I hope President Baka will go back up to like 2015 and to the present. Those who didn't really earn it and took it from government cover, but you got to provide proof that these people. I see a lot of people in the past and present government that will be indicted when it comes to that. I'll stop there for now.
Yes, and do welcome. And as I said about the asset recovery, Peabody is like I said, it's good though. It's a good thing, but it should not just be selective. It should not be targeted. You should make sure that you are sincere about it and make it happen. Like somebody said, what his name? Uh, Ija 05. He said something. He said some of these people put it in their kids and their wife names. It's true. So it depends. Like I said, if you go by the asset they declared, and then you can ask them how they accumulated the wealth over the last couple of years. Okay, but if you cannot find something in somebody's name, let's say Kev got Kev, you go after Kev, you try to find out say Kev owned this home, but you check document, it's owned by somebody else, not Kev, but they say Kev owned it, so it'll be hard. But again, it's a good idea, good thing. Just should not be selective. And as I say again, I want Senator Cornyn to speak on it too because he pushed back on it when President we are trying to do it 2019. Hopefully he can do it.
Um, good, good evening, guys. Great to be. So we got an echo. Yeah, somebody got someone. But like I always say, I'm grateful to you guys for consistently coming on here, volunteering your service to the Liberian people. It's not an easy thing to find. People with family responsibilities who will just volunteer the services. You all could have been at work or spending time, precious time with your family and friends, but instead you chose to come here and volunteer your service, not and hopefully not doing it with expectation of getting any kind of government job in return. Like most of our colleagues who became overnight advocates and activists because they were eyeing some kind of government on opportunity, and for that reason they remain consistent and in their fight, and they ended up becoming campaigners and misled our people to some extent. And here we are, guys. Somebody's playing something in the back. I can we got an echo, and so I'm just grateful to all of you guys, especially the guys in studio who stay out there until very late. It's unfortunate. I was notified last night, very late, that a friend of mine actually was involved in an accident that had to do with some form of or I think it was a like bike robber or something like that. But thank God for him. He made it. He's okay. But again, I just want to say, it's great that those guys back home will sacrifice their time, like Ansu staying late, the young man Henry who used to be here before. And with that said, to all of our audience, those of you who continue to share the podcast, whether it's on Facebook or on YouTube, you continue to do that. We appreciate your commitment for a better life there. Regarding what you guys started talking about, man, look, um, I spoke about this yesterday on Across Africa, and I'm here again to talk about this because it is important that we highlight these things to Liberians. When one pretend to be that ideal change, I think it is only fair that you live up to expectations. Americana that you're talking about, Tomalin, with the expectation that Americana should speak against this. If Americana is yet to even declare and publish his asset, what guts does he have to even speak about what is happening today? I don't expect Americana to say anything different because, again, these are the devil advocates. These are the people who would defend anything and everything because it's in their selfish interest. These are the people who would do it because at that point in time, the devil is on their side. I like the idea, and I must applaud the president for deciding to go after these individuals who became overnight millionaires. And this is why a lot of the other young people who claim that they were making $200,000-300,000 in the United States are leaving a $300,000 or $200,000 job to go to Liberia and work for under 1,000 or probably $2,000 monthly. Who in their right mind think that they will believe that? They all have seen the honey pot, and for that reason, they are all doing everything possible to go and become the next overnight millionaire, and doing it at the detriment of the masses, doing it at the detriment of the suffering people, at the detriment of those students who just want to go to school, but not wanting to go and sit in class, but get quality education. It's unfortunate that they are doing these things at the detriment of those innocent children. And so I hope that the president, while he's pursuing it, he will not simply do it because he just want to satisfy people's view. Oh, this is happening today. So, but not continue it. Because I remember at one point in time, I think President we are attempted, like you rightfully say, Timberlane, that he attempted doing it, but it didn't go too far. All right. They said they needed so much money to be invested in it. It just became another vlog. We didn't hear much about it again. And here is another opportunity again for Honorable Boycott to set the record. It's only the right time for him to go down in history as the one who actually stood up for something and deserved to be, remember for what he's doing today. So, I mean, I must applaud him for the idea. I commend him for at least attempting to do it. But going forward, I just don't dwell on words. Action speaks louder than words. And at this point, I want to see more than just talk, 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 talk. I want to see actions. And hopefully that would then give me reason to believe in this government. Until then, I think it's just literally just showboat, grandstanding, like Darius DeLong and Americana would do. They're known for that, grandstanding. And I think that's what it is. But until I can actually see some level of action from this government, I don't think they're ready for it. Thank you.
Let's hear from Duke and Kev on this. Then we can move on to our first discussion. Duke, weigh in on this.
Yeah, thanks, Tomalin. Always great to chime in whenever I can. Well, first and foremost, it's commendable that we're looking at a process to hold people accountable. Yes, there should be some discussions about modifying and seeing how best that particular process can extend to individuals who have a history of doing that. So that maybe there's something that can improve on. Um, I think that we're at the point wherein the Borky administration's got no other options but to continue to do these things. And just from all of the indications, if you look at international relationships, a lot of those international partners, especially people invested in Liberia, have run into this roadblock when it comes to enforcing things. I think the awakening call had to do with the sanctions. That a lot of these people were getting sanctioned, and in the end, the government of Liberia was feeling on its end to be able to prosecute. So that's the beginning. I know a lot about the whole sanction process and how it works. I actually have worked, an extensive amount of time in, along with OFAC and on the back end, and just seeing how the laws and regulation are. If you can recall, there's something in the United States called the U.S. Patriot Act, and that's an extension of the Bank Secrecy Act that allows these financial institutions and OFAC to be able to uncover assets. So if you have somebody in Liberia, who is actually being investigated for the actual embezzling, and you have a family member overseas or somewhere else that they believe those funds were transferred in the name. Well, there's ways that you can go about collecting that information. So it doesn't mean that person get by. First and foremost, if there's suspicions, OFAC or those in charge have the right to be able to question the wealth. And so one thing they will tell you when you're actually opening these accounts, be it securities, investments accounts, and regular retail or business accounts will have volume of money. In the beginning, you have to notify your relationship to any person that work in government. So all those things can be checked on the back end from that asset recovery perspective. So I'm not worried that they won't be able to check that. But overall, I do think is really crucial. I do think that the government needs to heavily pursue this. I don't think that this is all showboating. I think they're very intentional about it, and I think that we will get to see some level of traction along the way. So hopefully this is a beginning of what we've all been asking for: accountability and justice. I don't think it's a wish hunt. I think that when sometimes we may not get all that we want, but when there are steps taken, that makes us to realize that we're at this particular point of getting the level of traction, I think it might be commendable. And so I think it's commendable so far, and hopefully we'll begin to see some tractions in those investigations. And finally, Tommy, they don't have to work from scratch. The truth here is OFAC's already had a skeleton team in Liberia working from an asset recovery standpoint. I think in the past, there's been instances where there's a small team that have been able to recover some assets, that belong to the Liberian government. So at least they have that. And I believe the structures with those international partners, especially United States, and all of those prior investigation that they've actually had, will be able to aid this team in moving forward. But it is commendable. We wait to see the extent to which this investigation will go. But overall, I think we're on the right track.
Keff Hassan.
Guys, let me say hi to everybody. I think whenever a government tried to recover funds for the people, it's a good thing. It is a good thing. It's a good thing to combat corruption and all those things. But when you are selective, then it becomes a witch hunt. Everybody will welcome the asset recovery. The opening office of asset recovery. We agree with the president. But you have to you don't have to be selective. We know since 2005 to 2017, lot of money into Liberia, and we all know how they looted. If you don't believe me, you can believe the current president, because he said it himself. He said there are people squander opportunity. If we squander opportunity, ministers are working for themselves. You talk about corruption. The president right now, office were flagged for corruption. The group of 77. My good friend Duke, very brilliant guy, talk about corruption with JMB all through the campaign. A famous PL 480 famous thing. He spoke about corruption. So I think you can't come and say you're gonna flag a certain time and leave your own. Though we call it witch hunting, and we're not gonna stand for that. And I would say this loud on this platform. We will not stand for witch hunting in Liberia. If people think it's a joke that the president would come and do things and start witch hunting people, Liberia, open your eyes, watch and see. See if that will happen. It's not a threat. It's a right of all Liberians to not be witch hunt. So if the current president think he's going to be selective, trust me, it will not happen. But we open for it. You can go back. You can he go back since 2000. He can go back 2005. We all know Knockout. What happened in Knockout? If you want to know what happened in Knockout, go to Al Jazeera. Listen to Al Jazeera tape. You will see. I think Lofa Julius played that on his show several times. And if you're gonna say we will not go back there, we don't care, then I believe it's a witch hunt. So you can do it. We welcome that. But when you try to witch hunt us, trust me, it will not happen.
Before we go to the visit by the ambassador at large for global criminal justice, Ben Venshak, we'll go there. We'll talk before. Let's take it down a little bit. Before we talk about this, the president. We'll talk about this. Let's take it down first, please. Okay, the president has finally made his first official visit to all of the country since he became president. President Bouaka left today for Cote d'Ivoire, and he carried a high-powered delegation to Cote d'Ivoire for a one-day state visit. And he'll be meeting with Ivorian counterpart Alassane Ouattara. You know, President, the issue about this Transco CSLG is a problem. I think we owe Ivory Coast some money, and I think they have shut us. I think we're in trouble with them. One of the reasons why I think he's going to make sure that he's to get some help from his Ivorian counterpart, and also you have a joint commission meeting with Liberian Ivory Coast Joint Commission meeting, and he traveled with his foreign minister Cyril Beslo Yanti, his finance minister Boima Kamara, his agriculture minister Alexander Nuta, his senior economic advisor Molly Paul Kamara, and LEC MD Morning Captain. He also traveled with acting chief of protocol Nyenwolo. Nyenwolo was from the WIA administration, so she's still there. Presidential press secretary Kula Fofana and executive assistant to the president Mori Yuade Nima. And it's a issue while he's away, the Minister of State Sylvester Grayson will chair the cabinet in close consultation with Vice President Kuhn, while the president remains in contact via phone. He informed the legislature about his travel. But let's see what happened from the Ivorian visit. We all knew about this visit coming up, and But just wanted to talk about it. If you guys got anything to say about the visit of Cote d'Ivoire, you guys can weigh in before we move on to the next one. Anybody got anything to say about
Yeah, Tommy, if I can, there's something I wanted to pick up on the previous point there, if I could. Quickly before I run into the Cote d'Ivoire thing there, I believe that transparency and accountability should be balanced. It should be based upon the evidence is based upon the truthfulness, right? And I do encourage the scope of this investigation to extend where need be. And yes, on this show on several occasions I spoke about instances wherein there were questionable behaviors, the famous PR 480 that a lot of people now remember. So it's a good thing that Liberians are listening and they can run with these things. But I also talk about the widespread corruption on the previous administration. We wouldn't be here today if the previous administration had audited the past government. The president of Liberia ordered an investigation into NOCA. When the findings of NOCA came, and we called on the president at that time to make those findings public, he never did, right? There are also concerns that were raised by people advocates about corruption in the previous government. It was ignored. And, my friend Keff here, who is not a patriot, on this show repeatedly defended the actions, the incompetence, and the open corruption of his government. So to see him now speaking about, corruption and holding other people accountable is just, an act of hypocrisy. I wanted to stress that. But on the issue of Ivory Coast, Tomalin, I think, this visit here hopefully is something that, comes back as, helpful to our country. That whole relationship with Ivory Coast is something that we really need to continue to nurture in terms of electricity. I know there are some concerns. You talk about the debt. Hopefully that can be ironed out. But one thing on the executive mansion side that caught my attention is that the government is also using as an opportunity to be able to discuss the rising tension when it comes to military takeover across the sub-region, and they specifically reference act of terrorism. And so those are good, a conversation that needs to be held so that way our country is protected and we have the right atmosphere for business as well. So overall, I think it's a good opportunity. Hopefully, the president will come back with something for us. But I think this is an opportunity to foster that particular relationship with Ivory Coast and make sure that our different apparatuses are actually benefiting from that entire Mana River Union relationship.
And we also see Tomalin that, it is true that the president is going to ask for help. He's going to Ivory Coast and they're going to ask the Ivorian government to help them on the electricity, the whole electricity issue. But one thing we should also look at is that what plan did they have in place prior to taking over? Because it seemed like everything is going different. They have no clue. They are wasting the time trying to remove people from their position legally, but they had no clue. Even up to now, civil servants have not even taken pay. What was your 90-day plan when you took over? Did you have anything in place? Say, look, this is what we're going to do. We know civil servant will need pay. This is so. The entire time they did not follow the previous government, what was going on, what they needed to do, or what the previous government was doing bad, so that they can come in and say, you know what, we have to tackle the first 90 days. But it seemed like almost dysfunctional early leadership right now. I mean, it's like you don't know what's going on. You're appointing people that other people don't know that they're appointed. They didn't hear the name. You're putting people on the list 2 or 3 times for the same the same appointment. So the same names for like 3 different appointments. Yeah, the government's a bit dysfunctional right now. They have no clue what is going on. I think it's kind of sad though. It's sad.
And just before I go to the next person, what Peabody is saying, one good thing when you part of when you on these platforms, you get information that people up there, even people in the administration, they won't have access to. And I know last night we got some briefing from somebody in the administration, and these are somebody who is in a high echelon of the administration. So a lot of things are happening, and all we can say, we will pray that things will improve in the country, because I was not even aware that civil servants still haven't taken pay for January. I was surprised when I heard last night.
In February.
And then also that, so when the appointments that have been made, the president have not even been in the know of it too. And people have been doing their own stuff. And and like I said earlier, the fire chief, the guys are not happy at all with the appointment of the new fire chief and so forth. But look, it's where we are. But Kev, Lofa, Professor Kennedy, you guys can weigh in before we move on.
Yeah, let me just speak to the as far as the trip. We sat on this platform, this very platform, and we questioned the president as to why he did not want to attend some of the crucial meetings, like the one with ECOWAS, and other important meetings that he needed to attend. So my thing here is it's not just the mere fact that he's traveling. What I'm looking at is the result from the travel. What do we benefit from that travel? And these are some of the things that I think we were very critical of President Weah about. If you record back a few months ago, every time President Weah traveled, we were not looking at the result. We were not looking at just the mere fact that he was traveling. We were looking at the return, because our investment, we were investing in that travel. So we're looking at the return on investment. And back to what Duke said earlier regarding the president and the audits. Look, the reason why the famous say or title, their nomenclature being the rescue train, is because they had the solution to Liberia's problem. And it's about time to apply that antidote. Okay. Not to say that the previous government should not be held accountable for all of their missteps, but this is time where this government, with the solution, with the idea, with the experience, and everything that they had to their advantage, where they sat and observed and critique all of these things, should be able to come and implement it effectively without looking for reason to scapegoat other and say, hey, you didn't do it. And so that's the reason why we are where we are. I think in that light, anybody who find themselves in making this continuous excuse about what happened yesterday, I think at that point, you're literally just showing some level of weakness as to your inability to implement successfully. Let this government grab the previous government and audit both of them. Matter of fact, I will go to the Ellen government as well. Not just the previous government, but the government before the previous government. Combine both of them, audit them, and then prosecute if there is a need to. But I don't think it should be focused on the previous government. Then at that point, then I will consider that witch hunt. In closing, I think the idea of having to go and solicit assistance from our partners, our neighbors, is a great idea. Liberians need it. They're crying from heat. Today they're crying from heat because of, I guess, what are the issue of electricity or however it is. I think this is where his ability to negotiate and exercise his ability to network with other leaders around Liberia comes into play. But definitely we cannot wholly and solely rely on just one aspect of it. Let us do things holistically, and let us stop this whole idea of being reactive. I think this government is reacting too much. Learn to be proactive. Thank you.
Professor Kennedy, welcome, Grace. Professor Kennedy?
Yeah, guys, I've been following. So you guys spoke on two things. You talked about the asset recovery. You talked about the trip to Ivory Coast. Asset recovery is very complicated, right? Extremely complicated. Even when Madam Sirleaf tried to go after Charles Taylor's loot, as it was called, the war crimes lawyer who was working for Madam Sirleaf at that time, they spent countless hours, and in fact, they spent years trying to find this loot. When all was said and done, they only managed to locate about $8 million. $8 million, and they figure Charles Taylor may have looted anywhere up to a few billions, but they only found 8 million. And even when the Globe newspaper in the US, right, the Boston Globe, when they wrote an article saying that Charles Taylor had looted Liberia. Charles Taylor, knowing that he didn't have any evidence, because like one of the asset recovery lawyers said, any good warlord will know how to hide money. So he turned around and threatened to sue the Globe newspaper because he said what they wrote wasn't true. Asset recovery is not an easy thing. You need to bring people in who are highly technical, because the previous government tried doing it. They brought in Grant Thornton, right? Grant Thornton, this forensic accounting firm from the UK. They were over at the central bank. They were going through records. They were going through a ton of records. They even brought in a top law firm from the US, international law firm from the US. But because there were people entrenched in the system that didn't want to see this thing happen, it didn't happen. So despite all of the hoopla, the A-Rat team with Serena Cephas, with Arthur Johnson, with my man Lafayette Cool, all those people there who were involved, there was this whole hoorah. Everybody was excited about asset recovery. What happened? People entrenched in the system did not want it to happen, and it died. So it's being revived again, but who knows how far it's going to go, right? The reason why places like Nigeria was able to be successful, because Nigeria had the help of the US FBI. And even when Nigeria went to Switzerland, the Swiss bankers who knew that Sani Abacha had stolen billions from Nigeria, the Swiss bankers didn't want Nigeria to have access to that money. But eventually, with the help of international community, Nigeria managed to recoup billions. Even the island nation of Jersey has so much money over there. It takes a lot of, it takes a lot to get it done. You need people in there who are really hip on the banking system, like what my man Duke was just talking about. You need to know how the banking system works. You can't just walk over to, when a central bank moves money out of Liberia, they use a system called SWIFT. You cannot go to SWIFT and just ask them to see the audit trail of how money left Liberia. It doesn't work like that. SWIFT is not going to give it to you like that. You got to be able to prosecute people and show reason why you need access to that data. So, there are other teams. There are other teams in Liberia that I know of who would be well good in doing this thing. But I'm telling you, man, the political side of it would make it extremely difficult for them to succeed. So you have to look at the politics in that. In terms of traveling to Ivory Coast, look, here's the thing. I don't care. People say money is the root of all evil, but money is a great start to solve some of the evil problems that happens in your country, right? You need money. You need a ton of money. The place that you have to go for money is Wall Street. The World Bank, all these guys, they get their money from Wall Street, because when the money they're lending to these poor countries, they get it in the form of bonds that they're selling to Wall Street. So if you want that level of money, even some of these guys in the HPX, the money HPX is using for that railroad, they got it from Wall Street. The Lobito corridor, these guys are getting this money, a combination of the US government and Wall Street. So going to another poor African country to borrow money, I don't think it's going to be very successful. You're putting yourself in more debt, considering the World Bank just indicated that you have a high risk of debt default. So I don't understand the strategy. Maybe they know a whole lot better than I do. I'm sure they do. They're on the inside. But here's the last thing. The Liberian diaspora, it's a great opportunity to raise capital if you just know how to reach out and tap the diaspora. You have to have a strategy to come to the diaspora and say, look, listen, folks, this is what we need in Liberia. If you're interested in investing, we can protect your investment. But in order to succeed in doing that, you need a strong judicial system. You can't have people just paying and buying away for a verdict. So there's a lot of things that has to be done. I don't want to sit here and be critical, because I know when you're in that leadership role, it's not easy. It is definitely not easy. Back to you, Tomalin.
But for a second, before I go to Grace, let me ask you. Let me just hold you there. First of all, this asset recovery stuff, you from what I'm understanding, you're gonna hold back until you find out how they're gonna, until you find out the TOR and those who will be appointed. Because from what I listen to, when I listen to you, you are broad. It's a broad process. It's not just like how people is looking at A to B. That means you got international people involved in all, and to trace people wealth across overseas bank. So you think you are concerned about the people that will be nominated to head the process, and also the TOR. And then lastly, I thought one of the IMF program that Liberia is on right now. We're not allowed, we cannot borrow money from another source. Can you just help out there?
Yeah, so I'll take the last question first, right? So you're absolutely correct. The extended credit facility program restrict the way you can actually borrow money. You have to borrow money on a concession basis. You have to do it through concession agreements, which is why you see a lot of the borrowing they're doing is based on concession. But you can change that. You can absolutely change that if you go forth to the IMF and you have a good plan in terms of how you're going to raise the money and especially how you're going to pay for it. The reason why the IMF, and you see a lot of countries sometimes do not stick to the plan offered by the IMF because the IMF has shown no record of being correct. Even a small country like Liechtenstein, IMF, the economists, Fluke, and all these guys, they told this country, hey, you have to borrow money in this way. The country said, no, we're not going to try that. And today it's one of the richest countries on the planet. Sure, the IMF puts you in the ECF program, but you can come out of it if you have a good, strong strategy in terms of how you're going to raise the money and how you intend to pay it back. Because Liberia is at a high risk of debt default, not high, a moderate risk of debt default, which is not good, which is definitely not good. Asset recovery, I think the best place to start is you have to bring the US FBI in. You have to bring the US FBI in because that was what Nigeria did as well. They work alongside the US FBI. There are a couple of laws on the US books that I've seen because I was actually working with a few people who was involved in the asset recovery. I was talking to some of the people over in the UK, some of the people over in the US. I was in conversation with them. So I know some of the laws that's on place to help people, to help countries like Liberia do the asset recovery. So I think the great start is to talk to some of the professional asset recovery people to get it done. But what they could do, they can outsource that entire thing, Tomalin. You can outsource it. You can outsource the whole asset recovery thing, including the litigation, including the prosecution, and all that stuff, and the money being recovered. You can outsource that thing and get some money upfront right now, up to about 100 or 200 million upfront. You can have that if you outsource it. How do I know? I was in meetings where it was discussed.
Tell me just 1 second, please, if you wouldn't mind. Professor's right, some of the things he said on that. Let me remind everybody that during the Sani Abacha time, it was a different period, right? We didn't have the level of advancement. What makes it easier now is because of the U.S. Patriot Act. The Patriot Act opened and gave more flexibility. Talking about SWIFT, I had access, right, for my company in, assisting in verifying SWIFT transactions when it comes to actually international sanctions. I have records and documentation wherein I have been part of court proceedings with evidences from my institution when there was suspicion of actual money laundering as well. Those things are possible. Liberian government does not have to take on the initiative on its own. That's why you have international partners. And with global terrorism on the horizon, the United States government also has actually expanded its reach. So all they need to do is to be able to, like the professor said, reach out to people. Even the United States, the partners will be able to assist them. Like you said, the FBI was very helpful in the whole Nigerian case. In this case, OFAC and other regulatory institutions can do that because if you really see it, if their monies, for individuals believed to be involved in this thing in the United States, it's an easy process, and you just need to coordinate with the right groups and the right institutions to be able to get that level of help. So to me, it's possible. It's just about knowing how to get through the policy, the different processes.
Okay, Grace, you want to say something before we move on?
Yeah, thank you, Tomalin. It's nice to be here today. I would like to say happy International Women's Month to all the women of the world, and especially Liberian women. And I would like to thank you guys for having me here. I would just say quickly that access declaration in Liberia and whatsoever process the government has in place to carry on that particular drill, I don't think it's going to be easy. I'm not saying that they can't do it, but I'm just saying it's going to be hard. And it would be better for the Joseph Waka government, if they want to do this, to start from Ellen Johnson's early time, because during that time, a lot of assets was stolen as well. So it would just be fair enough for the entire country to be able to backdate the assets declaration and the assets retrieving process for all Liberians to be kind of satisfied, although everybody won't be, but that would be the right thing to do. So as far as getting it done in Liberia, I heard the news from one of my friends from Liberia saying that most of the Sokos, them, the people that they call Sokos, which I don't refer to as that, but that's the name they have for them. They are saying right now that Monserrato County, Monrovia, is pregnant, which means that like Monrovia got a lot of things, a lot of assets in Monrovia. Everybody live there and everything you can find there. So they need to deliver Monrovia. Means that Monrovia need to give birth. In a sense, when it means that Monrovia need to give birth, is that they want something to happen in the country so then they can go about looting and destroying and taking people properties and killing innocent people. And that's what they want to do. Because remember now, majority of the people in the country, they are youth. And those people have nothing much to do. So Liberians, we are all interrelated. All we know each other. Even right on the platform the other day, I heard your grilling Duke a lot, and I felt that he was coming from the right place when he was speaking. Concerning George Weah government, which is the referendum for Joseph Boakai government, but people don't want him to talk about that. So everybody kind of related. Everybody got their own devil they dressing. Everybody got their own Santa Claus they dancing for. So it would be a real issue when it comes to asset declaration. Also coming to the war crimes and economic court. It will not be easy because people will start to fight for the people they love and their friends and their family members. And for some reason, Liberians always provoke God when it comes to that. I was just discussing that with my good friend Phil Harding this morning. So it's not going to be an easy task. Now, am I saying that Joseph Boakai government can't do it? They can if they want to. They can stand and do the right thing, but they have to stand very strong when it comes to the process and not be biased when it comes to that. And saying, oh, this person and this person, it's not going to work that way. If we want to be straightforward, we want to Liberia to succeed and be very successful in the things that we do to bring the country back to the change that we want it to be, then we have to be fair to even our brothers and sisters that I don't care whether you my brother, it's time for us to do the asset declaration and you are in government, you need to bring forward whatsoever how the process will everybody need to abide by it. And that's the only way Liberia will really move forward. That's what I have to say on this one.
Okay, guys, you bring the release from the U.S. Embassy. Let's start talking about what release from the U.S. Embassy. Okay, yes, that's it there. Okay, we can read it.
I can't read it. I can't see it. Like, is there somebody in the studio? Answer.
Okay, let me just go ahead.
If you could just summarize it.
Congratulations to the Liberia's House of Representatives on passing a resolution to establish the World Economic Crimes Code. The positive news coincides with Tuesday's successful visit to Monrovia by U.S. Ambassador at Large for Global Criminal Justice, Beth Van Schaak. In her engagements with the government and civil society, Ambassador Van Schaak underscored U.S. government support for accountability and justice for all Liberians. Now, there's a training issue. The House of Representatives passed this. I think they were looking for 37. I think they got over 45, I think. And they have passed the House. It's now to the Senate for concurrence. And then they will reach on President Boakai's desk. Guys, this is causing a lot of issues. There's trending. The U.S. government is fully behind it. But, one of the main guy who is involved. In fact, I've been calling him all day today. Yesterday I called him. He picked up the phone. He's not happy. Everything I got, I sent it to him. I sent all the stuff I got, I sent to him. And I know he's not happy about it, but he been speaking on other platform, other station.
I was gonna say, Tomalin, can we try to get back to him because it feels like we should give him the opportunity.
I'll try doing the show, but let me just give it to the platform to open up. Everybody can at least spend 2 minutes. I beg you. What's your perspective of just give your take on this War Economic Crimes Code? The resolution that's before the Senate now is at the Senate now before going to President Boakai next. Lofa, let me start with you. What your perspective? What your take on it?
First of all, let me say this: Liberians should be excited. Liberians everywhere around the world should applaud this decision and should look up to their Senate okay, and those senators who represent the interests of the people, to see to it that this bill passed without, I mean, that it passed with flying color. I listened to, and I'll play the video for you. I guess one of the individuals involved. I need to get his name, but I'll play the video for all of us. This is a very short video where we all can listen to what he had to say. But again, I think I spoke about this yesterday, and I spoke about it on another platform. I want to remind Liberians, every opportunity that I have to listen in on conversation about the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court, I try to listen in to see whether this is just a mere witch hunt or targeted idea for individuals. That is not the case. This is not the case. From all indication, when I say whether it's phone call or just sitting in person with some of those with ideas as to what will happen, I don't sense any form of, witch hunt or just targeting of individuals. I think this is an opportunity to put us on the right trajectory. Liberians want justice. Liberians are asking for accountability. They are not targeting Senator Prince Johnson. Why it appears as though he's the target, that is not the truth. This is an opportunity for Senator Johnson to be vindicated. He can simply go and make his case. He's not simply just going to get ransacked and thrown in jail. That is not the way it works. He will be given the opportunity. The only reason why I see a lot of people continue to mention Senator Prince Johnson, simple, because he appears to be vocal about it every time he hears about it. When people say war crimes court, he responds. So it's almost like you're in a group. Every time people say there's a thief, you return. Why are you talking about a thief? Why are you talking about a thief? So you draw all of their attention. That is not the case with the War and Economic Crimes Court. Liberians, we are looking to just get what we deserve, and that is justice and accountability. So I think it's a good thing. We are on the right track, and I want to applaud President Joseph Numa Boakai for doing this. If you don't do anything to the rest of your tenure, I'm going to say to you, congratulations, bravo. Something that President Weah should have done, and he had all the authority to do it. He failed miserably, and we are disappointed in him. I'm glad that President Joseph Boakai is doing it now for the sake of Liberians. Great.
Mr. Peabody.
Hello, Tomalin. I think I've been saying this. There's a video going around. I wish we could show that. When I watch that video, I think about Mother Wata Allison that was badly brutalized by one of our warlords. Beat that woman and was slapping her in the face. I think about my cousin, Augusta Abachu, who were gruesomely killed in the presence of his boss, working for an NGO, even after he pleaded for his life. I think about my aunt, many others who were killed in our civil war. They have died, their parents have passed, and they did not seek justice for the children. I hope this will be a sign that justice will come, that even in their grave, they can always say, they can roll over and say that justice has come to Liberia. But I think it is important. You can have these people these gruesome killers, walking around the country and acting like they are decision makers, or they control the country, they have influence when it comes to election and electing the next president of Liberia. I mean, these guys are bad. General Butnick will get up there and try to threaten people after he burned family alive in the home, pouring kerosene and gas in the home and burned those families alive. And he's walking around, and I think it is important, and I hope that this will not just be a mere announcement, but this will be something that will bring closure, and that some of those families who are still living will get to see justice for the family members.
Larry.
So it's great having this resolution passed. The only thing that disappointed me was I needed to see a higher percentage of the lawmakers approve this because the country needs to do this thing in unison, right? You only have roughly 58% of the legislators, rather, not senators, 58% of the legislators approving this. I expected like 90% plus. But it's great passing a resolution. It's going to the Senate, and let's see what happens. But here's the one thing. I know the U.S. is keenly interested in this because despite all the things that Prince Johnson may be saying, the one thing he wouldn't be able to escape was this whole accusation and this whole thing about killing this American lady named Linda Jury from Michigan, the Hare Krishna woman. No matter who you are, where you are in this world, whenever you take the life of an American citizen, the U.S. government is going to make a huge effort to get you. They're going to make a huge effort to get you. So that whole business with that church massacre and Linda Jury from Michigan, the Hare Krishna being part of that, I think that's another one of the key reasons why the U.S. may be interested in this. But Liberians as a whole needs to come together and do this because what it does is it sends a message out to future perpetrators that if you were to get involved in this, this is the action that's going to be taken. Otherwise, you see what happened in places like Mali. The vice president, sitting vice president, is overthrowing the government that he is a part of. It's that kind of nonsense. Africa has a huge number of people who are committing these kind of atrocities. Look at what happens to the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, Haiti. If you don't prosecute people, eventually you'll have people who haven't been rehabilitated for some of these crimes come back in the form of gangs or Zogos. And that's why Haiti is like a failed state today. You had the guy from the Fugees, man. What's the rapper name? Oh my God, his name was just on my lips. But he was singing
Wyclef.
Wyclef, Sean. Yeah.
So you have Wyclef singing a song saying the president's got to go. That is because you see what happened when you have gangs taking over our country or something like that. We need to do this to let future perpetrators know if you get involved in this, you're going to be prosecuted. And people who today have benefited from that war, they should be able to pay back some sort of a restitution to families who were harmed by that war. But we need to get this done. And you know what would really get it done? We need to see some timelines so it doesn't run in perpetuity, right? It doesn't run for another 20 years. Please put some timelines on it. We're going to have this done by this time. We're going to have this done by this time so people can see some measurable things in there. We can measure it to see how far we're making progress. Otherwise, we're hot on it right now like a microwave. Give it another 6 months to a year. We're going to cool down and it's going to be dead again. And we're going to wait another 1 or 2 years before it come up. Let's put some timelines on it to see if we can measure how much progress we're making. That's how you get it done.
Grace.
Well, the War and Economics Crimes Court discussion, especially when it relates to Prince Johnson, has been a long. It's been out here for a very long time, for many years, and I still do not understand why Prince Johnson wants to associate this War and Economic Crimes Court to himself. It just doesn't make sense because he wasn't the only one that fought the war in Liberia. A lot of people fought. And also the economics, part of the whole war crimes code, a lot of people need to be held accountable for those things. So I think he just always make it like it's about him. And the thing is, my disappointment with all the governments that are being placed, including the Ellen Johnson government, I don't know how is it that, it's okay, man, I don't know how is it that there was nothing in the Constitution or the laws of Liberia that they could actually look at to not allow this man to partake or take part in any opposition, in Liberia, and even be able to stand in a place for people to vote for him as senator of a county after he fought the war. And with everything that went on, I know people will say, "Oh, they excuse that," but Charles Taylor fought and he was president of Liberia, but later on, Charles Taylor was told to, surrender himself, although for another crime in another country, but associated with the war of Liberia. Now, even with this war economic crime, because is Prince Johnson going to be willing to actually be a part or maybe be able to be investigated when it comes to that? because he insinuating that this is about him. So he making the people that support him, preparing themselves now for problem when it comes to that. But I just feel that the Liberian government, they should have the political will, and they should make sure they have enough support from the international community to be able to prepare them for what is coming. Because concerning this war and economic crimes code, I don't think when it's established, it's going to be an easy ride, because Prince Johnson is not as civilized, let's say, as Charles Taylor. It has nothing to do with Congo and country, but he's just not into it like that, because his response when the people talk about the code, you can see his reaction that he's not going to just give up himself, even if he's found guilty of atrocities and stuff that he did to people in the country. So I hope the government have the willpower. I hope they have the support. I hope they make the right decision to really establish the War Economic Crimes Code, to bring accountability, and also to bring reconciliation to our country. Thank you.
Pee-wee.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry for coming late, but I will be to the point. Yes, I think we all celebrated news about the resolution from the House of Representatives. We are very hopeful. We're hoping that the result will come the same from the Honorable Liberal Senate. Yes, it's great. There was a time before in the country people brought the idea about this issue about they shouldn't allow Prince Johnson to contest, or those that participated in the crisis. But again, the court said you cannot hold any Liberian if they are not prosecuted or found guilty. That was the debate at the time, right? But some other people were pushing. We started pushing the idea that, okay, but from the moral standpoint, we Liberians should not even vote for those people, because these are people that were involved in allegedly very dangerous crimes and the rest of that. But yeah, it's very good now we have the situation moving forward and in this way and manner. I will want and for us celebrate this process and the rest of that. If you have to catalog all of the atrocity, all of the massacre in the country, more than 300 different massacres across the country. Grand Cru alone had almost 19 massacres. Lofa almost 56 massacre and the rest of it. The Duporo area, the Man Gibi and the rest, Bon County, Nimba. So I mean, it will also do it will do some relief here for the victim, right? Where they will see, and that's why yesterday the ambassador Alas said that it will be a very appropriate thing when she appeared on OKFM, that it will be very appropriate and reasonable for the court to be established in Liberia, so that the victim will interact with the perpetrator and the rest of that, where they will see justice served and and all that. And so we are going to celebrate this process. We hope it will do a lot of things. If the process were to go through after the entire resolution and the president would go on and sign it, right? But my dear brother Lofa, yes, the former president quickly did not renege on this process. No. We got something in diplomacy called signals, and you really have to read from the signals sometime, Lofa, into this line. It was not the former. Now, this process is being pushed by the international partners. You need to observe the signal very carefully. You listened yesterday to the ambassador when she appeared on OK. She said that there's a Liberia didn't know there was a resolution access recovery. She broke the news before the executive marshal went on to publish this, right? So there's a support line. So the government is being moved to do these things. There's something in diplomacy called the arm twisting diplomacy. So the government is moving to do this because there's some support from the international partner to do this process. George, we are individually could not just come out and say, do this when there's some push. And I'm not saying this all to debate this. I know it, and I'm seeing what we predicted is what unfolding correctly. There's signals unfolding, the deep pocket theory versus the arm twisting diplomacy versus all of those things behind the scene happening is what currently unfolding. Meaning the partners really want to see this happen, and that's why it's currently unfolding.
Can you give me 30 seconds to just respond quickly, Tomalin?
Yeah, go ahead.
To my brother Pee-wee, that statement of arm twisting is not true. Why it is true that our international partner support the idea. President, we have had every opportunity. I sat in several meetings. That government was supported fully. All right. I'm not saying from a second-hand perspective.
I didn't want to debate. I was just saying.
No. I'm just.
All the meetings starting, you
Pee-wee,
want to quote,
Pee-wee,
you want to quote Alan
Pee-wee,
White. Alan White is
Pee-wee,
seeking
I'm
his
not
own
quoting.
interest.
Pee-wee, let me land.
Alan
Come
White
on
is
now,
seeking his
Pee-wee,
interest.
Pee-wee. Now you guys don't like you guys don't like these things to be done to you, but you would repeat it.
Go ahead. But
Stop.
no,
Don't do that, Pee-wee. Come on now. You interrupted. Let me just land. You mentioned me, and that's why I just want to respond. I'm telling you that President Weah had the opportunity to act accordingly. Unfortunately, he chose not to do it.
No,
So,
and I'm also saying that that's not true.
And here it is, right? The opportunities were given. The government, President Weah government chose not to act accordingly. So don't tell me what I know, because I sat in several in Island White. Some of those meetings that I sat in Island White had nothing to do with them, nothing at all. Not at all.
I don't want to debate. There was no opportunity for George. We have to act on this matter. Nothing whatsoever. Those meetings.
Okay, everybody giving a point here.
No opportunity.
Each other.
Can I go ahead now?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Tomalin, let's start from this. There's always been interest when it comes to the international community on the issue of war crimes court. Let's speak from American perspective. Number one, the U.S. sees across the sub-region there's a rising increase of Chinese influence. Number one. Number two, with a lot of the coup that's been happening with the Russian side of things, right? And it still respects that relationship. But in addition to that, to say today that there were not opportunities given to the previous administration, you see, and I've been trying today to probably just stay in the middle a little bit, but these are the kind of responses that get me to actually just go on the offensive. And people think that it's being personal. It's not, because look, for us to change the future, we have to reference history. That's a fact. It's a teaching moment that we take advantage of it. The United States, like Lofa said, gave the previous administration all opportunities, right? It sanctioned some of its people. In addition to that, it made it clear that Prince Johnson and others were involved in pay to play. The government had all that it needed to. Actually, there were representatives of the United States who visited the Liberian government to talk about this same issue. It was frowned upon. So, we commend the efforts of the current administration. Justice and accountability should not be politicized, because this is a major issue. Liberia needs to find its footing when it comes to making progress. And I think that opportunity sits now. How you feel about the war crimes court isn't the issue. The issue here is, how can a singular moment spur, right, that level of change that we need? And you never know, right? Will everything be perfect? Everything wouldn't be perfect. But the fact that their accountability and the deterrence, it puts a new tape out there for the Republic and gives future generation, even current generation, this thing to say, you know what, we cannot continue to live like the way we used to. And if you do these things, there will be justice and accountability. Yeah, the funding tied to that. The previous administration could have accessed it, right? The funding tied to everything, but that's not the point. The point here is justice and accountability needs to be the focal point of what they're doing. And then I'm not sure if you noticed so far, I noticed that the executive mansion just said that it has suspended tariffs on the importation of rice products. So hopefully we can delve into that later on. But I just wanted to throw that in. But overall, look, this is a major issue. Prince Johnson, look, have you guys seen the video, Lofa? This man is saying that he will bring people right in the streets. He will start war, right, if this issue of war crimes court is pushed. Does that sound like a man who has remorse? He has no remorse. And this is the reason why, when you allow these people to continue to exist without the level of restrictions or accountability, they turn into individuals who think that they're entitled. So hopefully this is a new beginning. I think the Boycott administration have no choice. It's going to happen regardless of, because there is additional international pressure. This year, they don't have any funding. And this time going forward, if you can't do those things that you need to do to hold your people accountable, nobody's helping you with resources, and that's where they are.
Accountable.
All right, thank you guys. I'm sorry I joined you guys late, but I monitor some of the conversation, particularly involving the asset recovery issue. Now I'd like to begin my comments on the asset recovery issue.
Oh no, don't take us back, bro. Let's start from here, and then we can come back to that, please. We got other things to get in the conversation, if you don't mind. If you can start from where we've been, and then when we're closing, you can address that. because that we got other things on the agenda.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right.
I'll leave that.
Thank
So
you.
on the question of the war crime, there is a brother from Nimba called Jonathan Pelele. He used to be he's a former BBC stringer for Liberia. So he wrote on this page yesterday, and he started his argument like this. He said PYJ and his men did not commit a Lutheran Church massacre. He said PYJ and his men were not in Lofa, they were not involved in all the massacres that took place in Lofa. He said PYJ and his men were not involved in the massacre that took place in Sino. He said PYJ and his men were not in Grangide. They were not in Bomi County. They were not in many places that massacre took place around the country. But so he went on to conclude that the war crime code is good for the country because there are veterans across the country, some of whom were PYJ King's men. And these will need full accountability. They need full closure to those who harm their loved ones. So he went on to declare his support for the war crime code. And when I read, I was quite excited. I was not surprised because I know JP, as we call him, Jonathan Pelele, I know him. I knew you have taken that position. But in the CV, here's what I would say to PYJ. Just like Jonathan Pelele, your men didn't go all over the place. My own brother, David Gonglo, was killed in the Lutheran Church massacre. He had just left Saglepier. He came to Monrovia. He was trying to be recruited by Invincible 11 to play for IE. So he didn't even know much about Monrovia. And the war came. He had nowhere to go. He went to Lutheran Church massacre church. And there he met his demise. Okay? So, I mean, so would you say the Gonglo family should not go for the, because we need to see those who did it at the Lutheran Church massacre or church. We want to go to see them. We want to listen to them. If there are people, definitely there are Liberians who are involved, who like to go and listen to them, who gave them the command, why they did what they did to David Gonglo. Okay? PYJ cannot stop that. But there is a reason. In 2011, in Secretariat at the NUDP convention, PYJ's speech, anybody in Liberia that is listening, particularly people from Nimba, know this. PYJ in Secretariat gave a speech as a standard bearer of the NUDP in Secretariat in 2011. He declared support for the war crime code. Because at that time, all of them were saying Alan Johnson Salih is the person that should go on trial. So he declared support. In 2023, when Jeremiah Kuhn, who is a member of Prince Johnson Party, appeared on Spoon, Jeremiah Kuhn declared support for the war crime code. In fact, today, when the U.S. delegation met Vice President Kuhn, he declared support for justice and accountability in Liberia. He declared support for the war crime code. And he concluded by saying, President Bouaga is a chief architect of the Liberian foreign policy. And he stands ready to go which direction President Bouaga goes. That's what he said. And this is Prince Johnson's song. So there is a wide and broad support for the war crime code, even in Prince Johnson's bedroom. Jeremiah Kuhn's support for this, I consider that as a support for the war crime code in Prince Johnson's bedroom. Because that's the guy who stayed with him. That is his political song. He support that. Okay? So all this bluff talk by PYJ that I'm going to bring men is because of the nature of our government. That video that I watched, he should be at NSA now. He's not above the law. I'm not going investigation. Because that video, Prince Johnson has directly threatened the state, the security of the state. He should be under investigation now. He's just a senator. He's not above the law.
So I'm sorry, Brother Gongo. A lot of our people are asking for the video. Get done. I'm trying to see if I can find it.
Oh yeah. We'll pull a video that I can send it to you. Somebody can send it to you also. Or you
Yeah,
can
send it to me so we can play because
So-
people are
so-
asking which video.
and it's important for us to get to know all of these stuff because the reason why PYJ get agitated on the war crime code thing is not that he has not declared support for the war crime code. PYJ has declared support for the war crime code so many times. There are so many perpetrators during the war. The reason why PYJ talks is because two things. One, he uses the opportunity. The guy stayed in Nigeria for almost a decade. So he learned the Nigerian way. PYJ cash out on every situation. He goes and say to his support, oh, the people coming after me, I need money for international lawyer. So all the people who want recommendation for him for job, he tells them to bring him money. That's what he does. So he cash out on those things. And maybe the second reason, which might be, a common sense reason, would be that while others suffer, he's afraid to experience the same thing because he's now tasting a very good life as a senator. He's traveled, he was deputy speaker of the ECOWAS parliament. He's enjoying good life. To see himself go to jail for the rest of his life is something that you can't imagine. So he gets, kind of angry and maybe a little bit agitated on this. I mean, that could be probably one of the reasons.
Yeah, please share that.
You're going over 10 minutes now. So.
Please share that video with Fab.
I'll close on this.
Please share that video with.
Because Sylvester Pugh made that comment. When the Liberia National Bar Association submitted the draft bill on the War and Economic Crimes Court, there was a broad support from the United States government. In fact, that was done with the American ambassador McCarthy in Monrovia. There were deep and level of conversation behind the scene in Monrovia at the time. And the ambassador, Washington was waiting. That's why it was submitted. But with the instruction of President Weah, I suspect, Bova Chamber decided not to bring forth the bill. In fact, the number of people who signed this, it was the same number. Actually, under Bova Chamber, 48 representatives signed. Some of them were not re-elected, but 48.
No, so let move on.
Yeah.
But Kelbo, please send that video to me so I can send it to Lofa. I don't have it.
Tomalin, are you trying to hide it too?
No.
Cable like politics.
I want to go to the Peewee. Okay, people are asking a question, right? They're saying, who are those going to be prosecuted? Because which people? How are they going to start a job? Because are they going to go with the TRS report? That's people. If you go to TRS report, you got to go everybody after everybody. But now I see here they say complete listing of persons recommended for prosecution for gross human rights violation and war crimes. These are warring factions. We had how many warring factions? We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got Charles Taylor for MPFL, Prince Johnson for IMPFL, Roosevelt Johnson, he's deceased. You know more J. Haji Jifi Kuma, more K, he's deceased. George Bole, LPC.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Jaya Nimna, he's a senator right now. From Model.
He spoke today. He spoke today too. I can play that video. That one I have it.
Sekou Damanti Kone from Lloyd and Francois Massacre from Lofa Defense Force, but he's deceased too. Yeah. But Lofa, Peewee, help us there. How are they gonna do it?
Okay, so yes, and that's one of the process. Now I was just looking at that and from the past history of what unfolded in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Now, if the resolution if the Honorable Liberal Senate concur with the resolutions anytime soon, and then move on to the President of the Republic and the President's signature the resolution, now will be bending for to move on. Then we'll now communicate with the international partner. There will have to be a special representative. Then from that perspective, there will have to be a resolution from the United Nations. The United Nations Security Council will also pass a resolution to concur with what we've done nationally. If that resolution is done, then it will move on to appoint a special representative for the War Crime Code in the Republic of Liberia. That special representative will now move on to work with some team of lawyers, it will be both international and local. And that team of lawyers now will draw the plan of unsealing the indictment for all those people. Now, there will be category of how they're going to unseal those indictments. First and foremost, they will seal the indictment from the issue about our sponsors. They will have sponsors, then they will have perpetrators. Sometimes I may be a sponsor that I would incur all of the responsibility the way I went about doing it. Now, if those perpetrators, some of those people that I control at the time, if they were minors, all of their responsibility will come back to me as head of institution. But if most of them, for instance, knew everything what they were added and they didn't go through the proper regimentation in terms of war, because war is the rule of engagement. And then where Prince Johnson is allegedly, I want to believe, he's too scared because when you see it on video, so that would be very easy to collect the evidence thing, right? So yeah, so that's the process going to do. And then when they do all those things, unseal the indictment, when the indictment is unsealed, but it has to be coordinated by the special representative for Liberia Special Court, for instance, right? So that is done. Something our men have been running after and other thing, and I would support him getting it. I would think if he can get it, no problem. But if that is done, then it will coordinate the process. Then it comes to witness gathering. It's a very, very convoluted and tedious process of the witness gathering and other things. Then we start finding. We need to find most of the victims also, because victims will have to move to court. We need to find the victim. Victim will have to come to court. You need to come and justify before sending all those things. So we have to move in those villages, find the victims and other things, and find spot, reconstruct some of the crime scene. Most of those, it's not genocide. Most of those massacre scenes, most of those things, people build some issues and other things, reconstruct most of those crime scenes, and then those will be used to move on. But yes, it's going to be a system after the Senate sign, Concord, the President of the Republic, going to sign. Then the United Nations will have to pass a special resolution to concord with our government. Then they will appoint a special representative for Liberia war crime. Then the process now will start to move on. So it's a little logistical process and the procedure and other things. But yeah, the fact that the support coming for us, we're going to move on.
Yeah, but you know, Grace, Raul, welcome. Grace, with all these people that they listed, right? Like right now, Chancellor is in jail, Prince Johnson is in the Senate, Roosevelt Johnson is deceased, Kurman is deceased, Bole just lost his job as a representative. Yaya Nina is in the Senate. Damati Kone, he's still alive?
Yeah.
Okay, Francois Massacre is deceased. But Grace, you think people are saying that this whole war crimes code will affect Baka government because it will be a whole government 6 years will be focused on the war crimes code and so forth, and then the Prince Johnson is from the party, the MRD. The vice president for president vice president is from Prince Johnson's party. Definitely, you think it's going to bring a split between either the VP and Prince Johnson, or you're going to decide now whose side going to be with, either with Prince Johnson or with Baka in the government and so forth. But what are your thoughts about this whole thing? You think it will be not a problem will come about?
There will be problems, but not problems that cannot be, fixed, or
Yes.
not problems that they cannot work with.
Absolutely.
Prince Johnson knew very well that he was putting his bid on Baka because he wanted Jeremiah Kun, who is from his county, to become vice president. He said it over on social media that because although it sounded tribalistic, as Liberians always are, but he kept on insisting that one of the people from Nima, he won't make Nima president and all that kind of thing. So he knew that what he was dancing with, because this is the change that Liberian people voted for, and he knew that voting we are other power, which when we are government, we were able to dodge. Not he did not come to that. I don't know whether he dodged it. He did not come to that. Maybe he had other things to do, and that was not his priority. But as of now, Joseph Boakai made this his priority with the international community and with the people of Liberia. He will make sure that reconciliation come to Liberia through this war and economic crime court. So therefore, he has to deliver. So even if it's 6 years, will depend on him bringing this war crimes court to Liberia. It would be for his 6 years, and maybe that is change that he will bring to Liberia. Liberia has been rescued at this point, so we are really supporting this president when it comes to the war and economic crimes court in Liberia, because we want our people to experience some kind of closure because people are still walking in Liberia with pain and hurt and everything. Because I'm listening, I think you shared with me, Tomalin, I'm listening to Johnny Na's son gave his testimony about how his father was a murderer in his family. It broke my heart. So people like those and people who already have people who we have not heard are waiting on this one economic crimes code. It will move Liberia forward in accountability. It will move Liberia forward. Even within the economy, things will change. It will move Liberia forward that people will know that you cannot just cause a problem in Liberia and walk free. It's not okay. Our country, we are not allowing this anymore. And it will bring accountability and reconciliation to the nation. So we are supporting Joseph Walker on this.
So Duke, this war crimes code establishment is trending, and this is the most serious time I've seen it. I know President we are talking about United Nations, he talked about it in the country, but he didn't really went forward with it. And now Boyka is, I don't know what Boyka is, we will say hands are tied, because Boyka stopped talking about it after inauguration. He stopped talking about it. But now with the visit of this ambassador to Liberia, the U.S. government support, and then he even met with the vice president. And the vice president, he said that it shouldn't be selective. But now with all of this happening, I mean, do you think that it will bring a split in the government? It will be because honestly, people are in the government connected somewhere or the other. You know very well that people have political ambitions and so forth, and this thing people gonna be caught in a dragnet. Yeah. But what do you think? You think you're gonna bring some split in the government?
Well, Tomalin, this is why you're a leader, and to be able to make those tough decisions, right? And it comes to a point wherein you have to either prioritize the relationships or what you were elected for, the interest, the overall good of the country. So I do think there will be, people who have, different issues with the war crimes court. I do think that it will really, hit him hard in terms of his support. But yes, the unique opportunity the president has. President Boyka is not seeking re-election, right? This term is just
wait. Let me stop you there.
President Boyka would not be on the ballot in 2020.
Let me stop you there.
Are you saying his spokesman?
Last night, we were privileged to classify briefing. Peabody was on our briefing that President Boyka is thinking about running still. Let me let you know. But go ahead.
That's something.
Quickly, Duke. I want you to answer the question. Are you officially speaking as a nephew?
Let me say that. I'm speaking on behalf of the. Let me tell you.
Are you speaking as nephew to the president?
The president, listening. I don't believe that
maybe it's part of the ego family.
I don't believe that the president is going to seek re-election. I do think that this is his opportunity to create his defining moment.
Check for 1 year. See that when you get when you
look at things, what's a better way to leave behind a legacy, right? Than to be the author, the person who finally brought the war crimes court to fruition. I think that would be his legacy, and I think this is a great opportunity. With that being said, look, this administration is in a tough spot. I saw a post indirectly from Stephen Johnson. I laughed, right? There's no money for this government. They're struggling. They catch back, right? They're in a situation now wherein you have civil servants' salaries are not being covered. You have all of these things happening. And now, in the past, you had the opportunity to reach the international partners. But a lot of these international partners said, look, we want accountability. You heard the former ambassador that recently left the country telling you the frustration that America had with all the investments they have made in the country. This is a serious issue. The international community understands now that it possibly made an error when it only focused on Charles Taylor, right? It was a good thing. But remember, though, there were remnants of the Taylor regime who stayed behind, right? And you see how those particular individuals grew into something else. And today we have a state that is now occupied by a warlord. So I do think there would be a lot of resentment. Like you see with Prince Johnson, you will see more for him threatening war. there are people who is in his support base, even were in the cabinet of the former with the current president that would be on his side. But in the end, though, the truth is there's nothing they can do. Even the Prince Johnson, because the war crimes court will come to fruition, not because the president, wants it so desperately, even though he wants, but because that there's too much riding on this, and because the government is cash strapped, because there's a need to be able to protect Liberia from what the international community sees as vulnerable. We will do all we can, right, to make sure that this comes to fruition. So that's my outlook on it, and I just think that there's no other way around. But so hopefully, like Tomalin, I think somebody said on the show here that we have timelines that we move, and it shouldn't take that long. I'm not sure how long the Charles Taylor case lasted. I don't think it was that long, right? And you already have preliminary the TRC report and all of those witnesses and all of those evidences. So you don't have to recreate. You just need to implement now and begin to hold those people accountable. So I do think it will come to fruition on the economic code part. That's what my brother Thiewin and with disagree. To see what happens.
Tomalin,
Taylor case almost 3.5 years.
Tomalin, before Peabody come in, I wanted to say this from Kamala Harris. Vice President Kamala Harris, she wrote on February 27 on her page. Just imagine Joseph Boakai won the election in October. He came to power in January. February 27, before she congratulated him, she said, yesterday I called President Joseph Boakai of Liberia to congratulate him on his election. We discussed the importance of democracy, the rule of law in the region, and also efforts to promote private sector investment in Africa. The rule of law. Think about that.
Oh yeah, the U.S.
And
government.
quickly to what Sis Great just said just now. So what I was saying about the arm twisting thing, we need to take some time. The call from the vice president to the president of the bureau is one. The statement coming from the ambassador at large yesterday on OKFM. Let's try to decode this statement diplomatically and see what we're unfolding. But we got a code. We're going to get a sponsorship. We got it up.
They use the same code on the previous administration.
Thank you, Duke. So in that regards, we will say that similar opportunity were offered to the previous government, the previous president. Unfortunately, he chose not to buy into it because he was still seeking the support of then Senator Prince Johnson, not taking into consideration what we wanted, what we asked for. So in this case, we are looking at another action. Course of action here is get with Senator Boakai, who said on the campaign trail, I will get it done. I will do it if that's what Liberians want. So this is why we are asking for it.
Yeah, but Peabody, I'll come to you. Peabody, people are saying that you think that this government, they are taking too much, they are opening too many fronts. Like right now, they have the issue about the tenure positions they are on hand. They are fighting tenure positions. They have the issue about audits going on, and then they've been pushed down towards the war crime stuff. And then we hear about the visit the president made to Ivory Coast today is about the legislative issue. And now I know we're on a call where we're briefed that
there's some noise in the background. I don't know where it's coming from. Too much noise.
Only one
in the house already thinking.
You the only person hearing it.
Only one hearing it.
You the only person hearing it.
Yeah, but so and then people are complaining that civil servants are not taking pay and so forth. The government is broke. I know about that. I mean, you think that they are opening too many fronts, and then he started after the asset recovery. He issued executive order for the asset recovery committee. You think that they are fighting on too many fronts, opening a lot of fronts, then think they get everything done at the same time?
I mean, we heard the old saying: if you do not plan, anyone, a government who does not plan to fail. And I think Boakai, they have no real agenda. Recently, we saw how some citizens of Nima were shot and killed. They have not provided any real evidence on those people. The police director have not talked about people being arrested. The officer that did the shooting, we do not know them. But they are all over the place displaying a $200 boot and saying the police boot or whatever they're trying to do. They're just jumping from one thing to another, overlapping of responsibility, jumping from one place to another, and you don't see anything. Every day they announce different things. that are being planned for. You have to plan when you make decisions. You have to plan when you're now setting things to the Liberian people. It's getting a meeting and plan. This is what we're going to do. This is our. They came up with 90-day plan, thinking that we are rolling. It's slowly getting there. They have not made any significant, real good plan that they can present to the Liberian people. When they screw up here, like they screw up with the tenure thing, and everybody was talking, they to sadden the Liberian people. They want to jump on something else again. Oh, we're coming up with war economic. It's a great thing. I want it. I want some criminal to be some murder to be really persecuted. I love that. But if you follow they're just jumping. It's like a overlapping of responsibility here, jumping from one to another. When the heat turned out in the recently were on the light thing. Okay, they're going to LC now to Ivory Coast now to beg them to at least put a hold on the payment yet so we can get the light back on until they get some money and things like that. They had a $40 million sign. We don't know how that money was distributed on what it was going to be used for. You got Civil 7 now crying about the pay. They haven't taken pay and stuff like that. So to blame the government, they would jump to economic and assets recovery and things like that. So I don't know what the plan is, government. I am totally. I wanted to use a word, but I can't use it on the show. But I am darn confused. I'm seriously confused on what they're really heading to because it looks like they got no real plan, just jumping from here and there. Very much.
But Robert Gagwa, there was a transition process after the election ended. In fact, President Weah conceded on November 17. And in the following week, he appointed his transitional team. So all that transitional period, and they had a clustered and they had a transitional process. You would think that they were there to compare notes and leave the 1001 notes and so forth, and get them prepared to start right away. But unfortunately is that we're not seeing what's happening, and the problems keep coming, and they have not yet completed anything. Like Peabody just said, I mean, things seem to still be disorganized. We know what's happening, and with the war crimes still coming into being now, and apparently people are saying that President Baka he said about it in his inaugural speech, but then he started to do slow snail walk about it. Now the woman said, "Let me fly in the region quickly and put some fire on this thing quickly." Now things are, and the speaker, to give Speaker Kofa credit, he was very fast. He put it up on the floor, the got signature and sent it right in the hands of Yombly and Jeremiah Cone. Two of them now is in the Senate. And let's see how long it would take to get them to get signatures and then send it to Bwaga's decks. But I mean, let me hear from you, man.
Great to be back on, guys. I'm a bit under the weather, but I hope to feel better soon. But Tomalin, to your first question about this organization. I mean, let's assume that they did not get any turnover notes, right? We saw what happened when CDC took over, and I think whether you like CDC or not, I mean, all of us here can agree that we did not see this level of chaos in 2018 when CDC took over, and I stand corrected. But we did not see this level of chaos. In fact, at 7 p.m. after the inauguration, the first 5 names of the first top cabinet members were released, and subsequently names were released after. I did not see the kind of elementary mistakes from the communication arm of the executive mansion as I am now. I mean, the kind of mistakes that I'm seeing now, to be honest with you, I did not anticipate at all, because I do know some people in the Unity Party, and I know some of these guys are smart. But just being smart doesn't fit the bill. Sometimes you need a plan. And the old adage talks about failure to prepare is a preparation to fail, pretty much, right? And so a lot of the guys that are now in government question whether or not George Weah was prepared for office when he took over. right? That the CDC were not prepared for office. The question now is, can we say confidently that Unity Party was prepared for office? Did they know that they would have won? And even if they didn't know that they would have won, they were in the race, right? So you would have had one winner to begin with. So a lot of stuff is being done here that is beyond my understanding, Tomalin. Um, and I can only hope that they get some sort of hold on the mess that we are experiencing right now. But I will say, the government dedicated its first major project yesterday, and the president of Liberia made time to dedicate the police boot. And so, I mean, that's the first project they've accomplished. Um, but with regards to the war crimes court, I must give credit to the speaker, and I think that they're moving fast. Now it's in the hand of the Senate, and those guys in the Senate must put their money where their mouths are, right? I want to see what Abraham Darius they don't think about this. I want to see what Senator Lawrence thinks about this, right? I want to see what other senators are going to do about this. We want to know what each of these senators, where they stand on this issue. You know where I stand on this issue. I think it's long overdue, and I think that it is in the best interest of our country. It's in the best interest of our long-standing peace and security and stability of our country that we move forward with this war economic crimes court. I see Prince Johnson is crying. I think he was crying, talking about Joseph Boakai has refused to answer his call, and that the people of Nima would not sit around and let the government turn him over. He's making all kinds of statements. But here's my message to Prince Johnson. You need to leave the great and calm people of Nima out of your mess. The argument is that you was in defense of the oppression of your people and you did nothing wrong. Then go to court. Explain the video of the capturing of Prince of Samuel Doe, and explain the invasion of other counties. Explain the death that occurred. Explain that in court. Have your day in court. You won't be granted due process. And what the facts are, judgment will be made there. But don't make this big mouth about the people of Nima will not turn you over. When this court is established, we will not need the people of Nima turning you over, my friend. You are a lawmaker, and you are responsible to uphold, not just make the law, but to uphold the law. So go to court. If you are not guilty of these alleged allegations, go to court. Clear your name. It's that simple. Ellen Johnson suddenly will have the opportunity to say, look, I contributed $10,000, and this is my part that I play. And if the court finds that she contributed to the war and her money was as a result of death, then they will sentence her. But all this big mouth and this scare tactics, you don't scare nobody. Those days are long over, my friend. You will go to court. Everyone who played a part in this war will have that day in court, and the judge will grant you what you deserve. And that's it. This is the only way I believe we can move forward as a country. This is the only way we can move forward as a country. So Prince Johnson and others, you will not scare us, and you will not scare Joseph Boakai. Joseph Boakai, you have a support in me on this matter. Prince Johnson should not scare you, and I commend you for what you're doing here. You are not succumbing to Prince Johnson's scare tactics, and you are not succumbing. You are not thinking about the next election. And I promise you, Tomalin and the other guys here, by 2029, you will see the significance of Prince Johnson decrease. Prince Johnson will no longer have this powerful voice. He will no longer have Nima. He will no longer be a determining factor as to who the next president is. This is the Liberia that I dream, and this is the Liberia that I want to see. So kudos to the administration.
Oh, people are just asking, say who that guy? I said that Robert Gagwa.
Yeah, I am Robert Glade Gagwa Jr. I am Robert Glade Gagwa Jr. from Grand Basso. Trade time.
I mean, Tomalin
I'm not scared of Prince Johnson.
Tomalin just making fun, man. You was not watching the show.
And by the way, we believe in self-defense, by the way. We believe in self-defense. So if you want to pull it up on me, just make sure you
what
And the thing is that most of us here got lessons to carry with Mr. Johnson.
I will be
I'm sure Robert got lessons.
But you think I'm playing? If you're going to pull up on me at the airport, wherever, just come right.
Robert,
I defend myself.
Robert, I will be a sponsor.
Oh, my brother, I'm not joking.
You for Nima.
I want to respond to the same question, the way you frame the question.
You
about the value government. I want to respond to that.
Yeah, you can put your factor into your when you respond.
All right.
You for Nima, I'm sure you're in the Nima chat room. You have a chat room, very powerful chat room.
Almost everything. I'm in all the chat room.
I want to know how's the people in Nima taking this war crimes thing? How are they? Tell me, give me the feeling. Tell us the feeling about the Nima chat room.
What is their reaction?
I'll tell you guys this. Don't take it from me. And I mean, we are all Liberians. Liberia is a very small country. If you know somebody living in Ganta or Sanugul or Seglepe, just reach out to them. You know, on Facebook, tell them, ask them, say, tell me, what are the callers saying on radio in Nema these days with respect to the War Crime Code? There is overwhelming support for the War Crime Code.
Maria?
Yes, because the thing is, what people forget is there are so many veterans from Nema of the actions of all warring factions, right? In fact, if you look at the Lutheran Church massacre, it was an act of a national government. Okay? So don't take it from me. Just ask someone. And like I said to you this morning, don't take it from me. Ask someone else. But on this issue of the possibility of a devolved government, I don't see it. And here is the reason. Because the vice president is in a very tight spot. Like I watch you guys on Monday show. You guys play the vice president voice assurances during the elections, where you are assuring people that no turn position will be affected when they win, right? And that's what technology does. During the election, the vice president also said he's a strong believer in the War Crime Code. And yesterday, when he met the delegation, he also said he's a believer in the War Crime Code. He believes in justice. Everybody must account for their actions. He said he stands by the president, and the president is the chief architect of Liberia foreign policy, and what the president wants is what he will do. But he's at a crossroad. Now, the House of Representatives in their wisdom, and kudos to Speaker Okofa on this, they acted swift and they passed the ball to the Senate. Here is what is going to happen. If that issue is not put on the Senate floor, who takes the blame? Even if the vice president has nothing to do with it, right? The voters in Liberia, the public, will say the vice president is the one who stepped away. And he will get reward in 2029. Wow. If it gets on the floor, which I believe it should and it will, he's also at a crossroad, because who knows? The Senate, the Liberian Senate, is the most political theater now in the legislature. There are probably 3 potential presidential candidates at the Senate alone.
Who are they?
That tells you that if President Bouaga does not move on with the War Crime Code issue, by 2025, he's a linked up president. I can tell you that. Wow. Even that whole thing about, vice president thing about running, his strategists are telling him, if you don't tell the people that I'm going to go for second term, by 2025, they'll be done with you. They'll be campaigning.
You want to know the Senate that won't be president? He hasn't the people. They planted it there. Snow there.
I know them. They are in the chat room. They are sending their images to different chat rooms. I'm part of it.
But you said that you didn't say your candidate name though. You didn't say Amara Kane.
I come here.
I thought you were going to say Amara Kane.
You get all you from the stuff.
I don't have Kenneth in the Senate. I don't have.
I'll come here. I didn't have the turn of green. Okay, Amara.
Who are very corrupt.
Are you gonna get right?
But people are asking for you to play the video though.
Actually,
Yeah.
there's a guy calling me now. It was posted in my chat room. Here is why it was a call-in program, like in the morning, which is live. He was not his actual picture. He called in and he was giving all these information. So,
But he didn't. But then I thought that there was a video because I have that. I have it. I played it last night when I crossed Africa. But I thought it was one where he said he would put people in the streets. I didn't hear him say that, but I can play it again.
No, it's there. The guy has the script. The audio caption is there.
Did they see that? Okay, I can play it again.
Lofa, 1 minute. For me, I would like to take a few seconds to devour the Big Brother Gongolo on that few things he said about Nimba. And
did he mention American?
Come on, man. We're not talking about American now. So yes, I will respectfully disagree with Kelebu Gongolo here on this process. Sion, but let me say this to you. From the perspective of the Nimba issue on the war crime, I would think the Nibians themselves, in terms of because if you have to look at the configuration and the cultural diversity of Nimba, it's about the 3 to 4 different tribes. From the gear perspective, from the gear perspective, more than 70% of them will support Prince Johnson. They will go against the war crime code. I'm saying this. I have done an examination of the process there. More than 70% of them.
How they took draw when you didn't know about any process?
Right? More than 70%. That's why I'm saying to you, I disagree slightly with you from the perspective. Most of the calls will come from most of what we call the urban part of Nimba County. Those communities that are booming with different sort of mindset, right? Diverse mindset, like Ganta, like Sani Kure.
But Ganda is a political nerve center.
Yeah, but if you had to go deep into Nimba, in the forest land, the populated part of Nimba, most of them, they are inclined to support to go against the war crime.
Because we are on a public forum and this broadcast is also carried live in Nimba, I don't want you to mislead the people in Nimba. I'm going to respond to this.
Yes.
Let me tell you this. You know, Nimba people for almost 2 decades have been dogged by the issue of what role the Nimba play in the Civil War. There are many different organizations, political organizations, community groups in Monrovia, Nimbayans participating. People say, oh, people that war people. You know, Nimba people are interested in knowing the truth because when the truth comes out, it will be put out that, in fact, the number of people who might be held accountable for Nimba might be a minute people who are leaders compared to people who come from Lofa or the Southeast and other places. And it will actually shift the argument and exonerate Nimba that Nimba people are not warlike people.
I don't want to debate on this. Are they a survey in Nimba?
Brother Peewee.
Are they a survey quickly, Lofa? Are they a survey in Nimba?
What was the sample size of your survey?
We at the time we did a
Which group? When you say we did?
It was a neo-progressive movement. We were talking about at the time we were pushing this issue about the war crime code, right?
Who was your founder?
Come again?
Who was your founder?
So guys, here's something.
I know you're gonna go.
I know I kept talking about why Tomalin is coming in. There's something that have been trending, and I know I'm one of those who have been very stiff arm on Americana, but I think there's certain things that he's been doing. I must commend him for. He made a post about 16 hours ago and highlighted something that is happening at the Senate. I just want to read part of that post that he made that should draw all of our attention because the likes of Darius DeLong, Yombi Kanga Lawrence, and other people are being, again, very deceptive. This is where we have turned blind eyes to the reality on ground, where what they're supposed to do, they're not doing it. The article or the post American, he said the Senate is consumed by the politics of jobs in the executive branch.
Mute.
Okay, he said so much that some of our rescue, in quotation, some of our rescue senators, particularly work in the executive mansion to push for jobs for the people, while the Coalition for Hope senators are barking about the protection of their people in the tenure position. Can you believe this? And these are people who are supposed to be coming to rescue Liberia. I want to bring this so that we can include it in our tonight's conversation, because a few days ago, we saw a group of hooligans claiming to be government officials, going to offices, trying to just push people out of those agencies. And now here comes a senator who's actually speaking to what is happening. We saw a few weeks ago where Darius DeLon took his cameraman and had him nominated for a position that this man brings no idea to. All right, no understanding of what he's supposed to do, simply because he served him with some level of diligence or what we would consider loyalty. It's embarrassing. And today, we see where this government again brought what a lot of people are referring to as what is it? Ice booth, where they will be selling ice water for the people and talking about this is supposed to be some kind of police surveillance. First and foremost, you cannot compare the two. You are misunderstanding this whole issue of surveillance and security. I am not coming from a background or a security background, but after my opportunity to serve and train some of these officers, from police to rangers and superintendents on several technology, I know exactly how to look at things. We cannot compare the issue of detection to the measure of response time. Liberia's biggest problem today is response. The issue of surveillance, you put it over there, it's not solving any problem. I think it was just another opportunity to showboat again, and they're leaving out the issues of priority. How are they prioritizing the police surveillance as compared to the response time? EMS. Look how many people are dying today. When the police is called, they're not actually showing up to these places on time. They're asking people to pay for gasoline. They're asking people that several other things they are requesting before they even embark on the journey to go to these places. And here you go and put a surveillance camera somewhere and say that is what technology are you utilizing to support this? But let me play the video and we'll get back to it, guys.
Okay.
Gina, let me comment.
Go ahead.
Look, man, that's why I said we see a flip flop of responsibility here. The police can't even give account who shot those people in Kitman. One reason Gregory Coleman was afraid to come on this show because he didn't want us to ask him this question. He can't even give account whether they have been arrested, whether the officer have been put on leave or pending investigation. He can't even give account. There's a government there's a police who came up that they're going to ensure that the law is enforced. This is done. I saw the police director escorting one prophet pastor from Ghana who come to testify that this thing gonna happen. That this yesterday at the airport, giving him escort from the airport. The police director, they have not been able to tell us. You put in surveillance in Monrovia, where you don't even have lights. Where those surveillance going to work and think going to get the people? The fact is, we see a flip flop. That's why the people are running all around here to President Barker home, insisting that they can't do no other job, that they either have to be the director of police, they either have to be the director of this. That's the only one. There's nobody else trained in that country. You go 12 years and come back, you get the same old people. They are the only qualified people in the country to do the job. And that's why you see what is going on. Nothing much going to change. We criticize President Weah. There were innocent deaths in President Weah. We blame the police. They couldn't produce the 3 missing boys today. They couldn't do that. There were police brutality in Claratown where they killed police killed somebody. Nothing came out of that. They're going to be the same old thing the other day. We don't know who did that shooting over there. Liberian people want to know what kind of disciplinary action did you take on those officers that did the shooting, and to just give the Liberian people some kind of assurance that the police work in the interest. The next thing to cover the story, you bring the $200 boot, you put it on, and then we haven't seen that before. Everybody jumping around and say, "Oh, the police going to be good. Oh, are the police moving in the right direction?" Stuff like that. Other areas, go to places that Buchanan, other places, police don't even have 2 or 3 pickup trucks. What are you doing? The first step when it comes to transparency in running the police, it should start from you setting an example. And look how they started. You want to justify things. That's why he was afraid to come in, because he knew we're going to give him that time.
Well, so tell me if I can comment, please. I'm not sure.
Lofa,
yeah.
There's I heard what happened with Yake today? You got that video?
Yeah, I got that video. Let me play that. Let me play that video for us, right? Let me play that. Let me play the what's his name video, and then I'll bring Yeke on here. I got him queued here. Let me play that really quick here.
Everybody just to how do you go ahead.
Going to a Sunday, walking slow like Toto. Don't worry about him. Rescue your nation. Look at the hospitals. Look at the schools. Bring the teachers back into the classroom. Look at the behavior. Look at the gasoline, the roads that have been built. People can't get from one village to another. Those are the things you promised in your first 100 days. Walk around code should not be in your 100 days. Take it from your 100 days and put it into your 4th year. When you are leaving power and you bring walk around code, nobody will care. But when you have this government in the first 2 months, you bring walk around code, all your program will be on the map. Now all of you having confusion. Oh, we're gonna tie them up. We'll get on to Ghana. If you talk to Ghana, this was a country that spent thousands and millions of dollars. They send their children here during the war and they die here. If you talk to Nigeria, Nigeria send their children here and they die here in this country, and they continue to insist that the war in Liberia will end. If you talk to Guinea, if you talk to Cote d'Ivoire, you never talk to all of these people. They are against you doing what you're doing because Liberia is still fragile. We are peaceful, but we are not stable. This is not a stabilized country. Things are going on daily and nightly. This president needs to listen and to watch and to analyze. Walk around, move it from your agenda now. Move it from your agenda. The Constitution does not allow a white man to be citizen in this country. No white man is supposed to be citizen in this country. And you know who passed the first law? It was our brothers who came from America as slaves. And they said to us, they settlers, the originals that they met here, and they said, the white people are bad people. The way they treated us. So we came back now, we are free. But no white man should be a citizen in this country. And the other tribe, the Gola people, the Vai people, the Mende, they said, true. No white man will be citizen.
All right, I'm gonna stop at that point here, guys. I'm gonna stop this. I'm
This,
gonna stop there. Let me play the second one.
Who is this guy? Who is this?
Why are breaking out
I'm here telling you. You see,
why are we propagating this?
He's the
Hold up, guys. I mean, he said something though.
Well,
I
that's
mean,
rebel faction model.
I mean, you guys we can address this. I think everybody should speak to it at some point in
Yeah,
time.
but everybody speak on 1 minute, please. We shouldn't ask you 1 minute, please.
Right.
1 minute.
so
All right.
Yeah,
this is why I believe we need justice and accountability. The fact that a mass murderer in Yaya Nimland can tell us what we need to accept and what should happen in Liberia, it speaks volume. And I hope the war crimes court comes like tonight, because people like him supports every reason why we need to get rid of individuals who have been problematic or accuracy when it comes to Liberian growth and development. This is embarrassing. It's a shame. And you know, look, the government of Liberia needs to wake up. You cannot have these elements openly threatening the peace and stability of the Liberian people, and you allow these guys to go home and sleep at night. The NSA, the Liberian National Police, they need to arrest these individuals, people like Prince Johnson. You can't make these kind of open threats. Liberia is not your own country. You're talking about discrimination and stuff, but you're discriminating against diaspora Liberians too. You're talking about stabilizing the country is a stabilized country? Oh yeah, I bet when you receive thousands of dollars from your government paycheck, Liberia is stable because nothing there impacts you, and so you don't care about the ordinary people. But I think this is a wake-up call. Hopefully the administration watched the video, they'll take additional steps in calling him for questioning. But our international partners need to see why everything that we need to see happen in Liberia needs to occur, because these people sit amongst us and they'll continue to be problematic. Finally, look, this is an opportunity for the former vice president, not the president, to leave behind a legacy. And we are looking forward to the day, be it a week from now, a month from now, when we hear that this particular court has been approved by both houses and we're moving in the direction where we can start holding these people accountable. But it is disheartening to see him. But, you know, I'm not surprised, because these are the kind of criminals that live among us. If the we administration had done its due diligence to hold these people accountable, we wouldn't have a Yaya Nimble around here. But you know what? If you think that the 1990 Civil War will be the same as 2023 or 2024, go ahead. We are not the products of 1990. We're different people. Your wars that worked before will never work in the 21st or 22nd century or whatever it be. We challenge you to take guns and go into the bushes, and then you will see the will of the Liberian people, because we're fed up with threats. We're fed up with these individuals, and they need to be arrested.
Thank you.
Yes, I will vehemently disagree with Warlord Yaya Nimble.
He's a senator right now. Senator.
But you cannot remove that warlord title from him. It's something that he was a belligerent leader, and that belligerency will always remain.
He did not feel like a senator.
Yeah. So basically, for me, on that perspective, imagine the thing there, those, how they call it, 81 mortar meter that were deployed at the time. It decimated a lot of people in 2001, 2, and 3. Terrible things happened. But he was saying something about this issue about where he hit white men. Now, if you went through the 13th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, you would know that why these people left from here to go establish a country called Liberia? How did they leave from here? If it was not the issue about trying to bring issue about substitute issue to erase the issue about slavery here, the point removed that process. It was on the basis of that those people left from here to go back to our country to establish the country called Liberia today. We all got our own selfish motive when we debate issue, but I don't hate the women for that. I even hail them. I ain't not been the bravery of what Abraham Lincoln did by aspect the 13th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. We wouldn't have had a country called Liberia today. No. Probably he need to go back to history and go and dig more deeper to understand the significant role the 13th Amendment played in the establishment of the Republic of Liberia today. So no level of scare tactics, or we'll call drill dying, will allow anything to change, man. These are the kind of scare tactics that will be creeping in the system now. Scare tactics, belligerence, thought processes of phoning for those threats. And these are loose threats. All these men, all of them major battle commanders and the rest of the guys are living luxury life now. They've transformed. They're not going back to the butchers no more. So these guys should be punished as per what they committed on the street. I think that's a bluff. And it will continue. We'll hear the kind of a bluff continuously.
Yeah, Robert. Yeah, 1 minute.
You know, I don't blame that idiot. I don't blame him. I blame us. I blame the Liberian people. You know, I blame the Liberian people. Can you imagine a character like that serve as foreign minister? In the can you imagine? You know, the man can, oh my gosh. But war crimes code is needed because of voices like him.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever wonder why we need the establishment of war crimes court, is to test the strength and influence of voices like that idiot. That's what we need. Because we need people like himself to account for the role that they play. What is the fear about? I don't get it. What is this fear about? You know, and they're trying to use these scare tactics. You know what I mean? Like, what is the fear about? I'm lost of words here, and I don't normally, you know, I'm a man of many words, but then, you know, when I listen to Mr. President, here's what I will say. You must move forward with this. You must move forward with this. It doesn't matter if it was a year or 1 month. This is the right thing to do. Wow. And the right thing to do has no timeline. It has no time limit. Do it. And don't listen to idiots like this guy or idiots. I mean, this is what we get. We denigrate great men and women, and we reward fools like that, excuse my language, and to have the power to even speak to the press like the way he just did. I don't blame him.
Calabo.
All right. So on the Yaya Nimna issue, it's consistent with Prince Johnson's message. I think this is a fear monger to intimidate the population. This is, in fact, under different conditions, it's a crime by itself because they are trying to harass our people. They are mentally torturing our people, making them to relive 1990. Okay, so but here what I was saying, Liberia has a leadership problem. The argument Prince Johnson or Yaya Nimna and others use of fragility does not hold because Sierra Leone, fresh from the war, held a war crown tribunal, their special tribunal. And the people were Forty Sanko and others, Inga Normal and others were tried right there in Freetown. Much more after 20 plus years, when the infantrymen who followed the likes of Yaya Nimna, Prince Johnson, George Bole, Damante Corner, and all those have been disbanded and they are doing their businesses. Some of them have moved all around the world to live. They've lost control over these boys. So they are fighting on what they're doing there basically is, hey, the only weapon they have is the weapon of intimidation to come publicly and say, oh, the country is still fragile. But Yaya Nimna decided to become senator in a fragile nation. Senator Johnson decided to become a senator in a fragile nation. If the country is fragile, it's not good, why didn't just stay away from the government and fight for peace? That's a false argument, and this tribunal must go on. Let Bouaka walk into history. Let Bouaka become a man of history. And that's what President Bouaka should focus on the issue of not putting it. I think Yaya Nimna should know that if Bouaka moves, if the president moves ahead with the War Crown Code, it will in fact signal to investors that Liberia is a peaceful nation. The bad people have been put under control. They will invest more in the economy. I close on that.
Peabody, people are telling me, texting me that when they listen to Yaya Nimna, listen to Prince Johnson, these are two powerful former warlords. And Yaya Nimla, he from Branchi there, Prince Johnson from Nima. It could split the country. The country could get back into some problem again. What are your thoughts? You think people are left?
Those men can't even walk on their own right now.
Yeah, he left.
Okay, let's go to Lofa.
So Tomalin, here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't even think these guys, why it is truth that people back home will be afraid and we should be concerned because these guys are people who were able to take lives. They didn't think about it first and so they can easily come back and do these things. But with the society we find ourselves in today, let me be honest with you, any attempt on their part, it would just be simply them having to just sign their waiver, their death waiver. Excuse me for having to say this. Oh, yeah. And in closing, somebody said, why is Robert insulting someone else's parents? In defense of that statement, let me say to you, Robert is insulting and did not insult. As a matter of fact, let me take that back. Robert did not insult. He described the attitude of someone who exhibited some level of ignorance. And it was idiotic on his part to serve as a senator and make that statement. So that is all Robert was doing. He was not insulting him. He was describing his action. Thank you, Tomalin.
Tomalin, I'm back. What's your question again? What's your question to me?
Yeah, I'm listening to Prince Johnson and Yaya Nimla. You think that they have the capability to cause trouble, making the threats they're making?
I don't think they have any potential. I think they are just afraid, just a big muff, because big muff can scare Liberian people. One man can just get up and say something and everybody gets scared and stuff like that. But I think what they could do is to just put a pocket of people on the street and just disrupt their activity. That's all. Tomo Yaya Nimla should not even be talking. I'm glad that justice is coming. Prince Johnson, look, I'm going to send Julia that tape that he played. I personally, what I saw, Prince Johnson do as a young boy that time, what I saw him doing in Nukutai across the bridge, what I saw our brothers from Nima, how they were massacred in that Lutheran church. I stayed right across JFK, and I saw soldiers going into that compound and killing those poor people. People were leaving from the Lutheran church, making their way into JFK. I stayed right across the road opposite JFK, and saw how soldiers went in there, were taking those people, were standing out as a young man, and saw how they were killing people that were even trying to make their way to the hospital. So I mean, this war crime, it's not only for Prince Johnson, it's for others who went after the people from Nima and killed them. All those, the Mandingos, the Crime, the Guilds, all who got killed. It's for everybody. It's justice for everybody. It's not just for Prince Johnson. Prince Johnson was involved. Though Yaya Nimna was involved. Others that were named were involved. Damate Kane, he was involved. They all will come to face justice. So people shouldn't just take it as if they're going for Prince Johnson. Everybody got killed in this war. The people from Nima, the people from Grand Jita, the Mandingos, you name it, all were killed in this war, and that's why justice is coming. But I think Yaya Nimla has a 12. I don't know how long he should be senator. It's for 9 years, 10 years. I don't know how long he should be in office, but I think he's afraid because this is going to be cut short. Probably this is going to be his first year and last term as senator because he's going to he's going to be dealt with. But I think he doesn't have that potential to cause nothing in that country, and I think those kind of comments should be condemned by the government, or they should even be arrested for or questioned for making those kind of terroristic threat to the people of Liberia. That's a terroristic threat, and it should be held responsible.
Grace?
Liberian people should be thinking right now, justice is coming tomorrow for Liberia, because these people, as everybody else has said, the use of scare tactics, they're using it to divert from the attention. They want to take away from the attention that the war crimes, the War and Economic Crimes Code is bringing into Liberia right now. And it's so sad to watch. And most of the time, these loudmouth talkers, they have a way of gearing Liberian people toward them, because most of our people, their minds are not really set in a way to really, decipher who these people really are. And that's the sad thing. But I just wanted to say that it's important to prioritize the establishment of the court and ensure justice to uphold the rule of law in Liberia. And that's the reason why we'll continue to push this government. Whether Joseph Boakai in 100 days want to accomplish that, he will accomplish that in the first 100 days. That's his right to do that, because this courts have been in discussion for many years, and maybe Joseph Boakai will put them into power to bring this whole court to fruition for Liberia to be safe again. Thank you.
Carry a list for them to employ people. How you will talk? Senator, they don't carry a list, they employ somebody for your office. You carry a list, they employ a brother web. So how you will talk? You sit on my head and say my hair stink. They don't want to talk. Nobody said will not talk. No, people have become embarrassment to the country. They're employing their family people. Look at Prince Moy. Look at Prince Moy. Look at Prince Moy. Corrupt men like that. You power around, you carry somebody to a place that you don't have authority to carry people. Joseph Boakai is going to be serious. We elected you. We elected you for change. We know elected crook like Prince Moy then. We know elected embarrassment like Deron then. We know elected embarrassment like Yombli Kanga then. Those people are very soon you will leave a bad legacy. Like what I wrote. Oh, you saw my letter?
I saw the letter, yeah.
No, you're not seeing it.
No, I saw the letter calling for investigation.
No, have you seen one?
Yeah, into the disrespect of president. The one about president. No, take it back. Take it back, please.
Ask me which one.
No, okay, when you take it back, I ask you, we'll cut the interview off. No, we'll cut the interview off if you don't take it back. Yeah, take it back. Take it back. You can. I'm a journalist. The last time you described me as citizen journalist, yeah, you know the party. You have to take it back on the camera, or else I call the camera off. Will you take it back? But when you take it back, sir?
I'll take it back. Okay, I'll take it back. Put it in your bed. On your back.
No. You have to.
Oh, okay, in my pocket. Okay. So let me say this. Let me say this. If you have people recommending people for jobs, why you can get all of those people? You can get nothing. I told people, I said people on family business. And carry it.
Okay. Quickly, guys, as we come to the end, you guys can comment on the video later on, but let me start with Duke. What's on your mind, Duke?
Hey, Tomalin, look, what's on my mind is this breaking news by Front Page Africa that suggests that after audits are done by the GAC, it was determined that the Weah administration never left, barely left any money in the account for the Boyka administration. It is shocking, right? And this is why I cautioned people in the beginning. Look, the opportunities that you have when you see us on the closing argument, I think you should learn to respect that and understand that this platform brings talented people with several skill sets and discipline. And when we're speaking, we're not speaking, from a blind perspective. One of the things I said, if we go back to the tip, Tomlin, I said that, look, let's be very mindful. Let the audits determine exactly where we are in terms of the accusations from both government. And so Front Page Africa is reporting that it seems like the person who misled the current president was President Weah. And after that initial audit, it shows now that there was barely nothing left in the consolidated account, as previously indicated. So hopefully we'll hear from both sides. But if this, their consistency in terms of gag and additional clarity by other outlets, it shows the level of deception and it shows the level of distress that the economy is in. But it also speaks to the character of the former president. And when I say these things, people think I'm just blindly talking about this man, or I have some hate. But Weah was a dishonest president. The CDC administration was one of the most corrupt institutions, and we see that through this revelation by the GAC, the General Auditing Report. And this is why asset recovery is important, by the way, and potentially the war crimes court.
Okay, let me go to Sylvester. Sylvester, what's on your mind?
No, what you want to say? Go ahead.
I wanted to respond, but on what's on your mind?
No, but it's not an issue about responding. Number one, listen, we need to be very meticulous here how we do analysis when it comes to government finance methodology, right? Duke would be sometimes historical as he responds to some of these things as they come out. He quoting a newspaper. It's unfortunate. We professionals don't rely on hearsay. You have to do more deeper analysis of the facts before you come out to conclusion. You are more energized just not quoting newspaper. It's so unfortunate. But
okay, well, I'll give you a chance to finish. Go ahead.
Yes, the newspaper is coming. You need to first and foremost go and see the transmission letter coming from the Auditor General, his perspective on the consolidated audit process that I carried. Was it a continuous audit process that was conducted? Was this process conducted just for the transition period to understand? So you need to go first through the audit report. I worked with the GSC before. I understand how reportage and the rest of that transmission notes coming from the Auditor General is. What was the audit engagement? What's the methodology attached to the audit engagement issue before you come up with statements? So I want to be moved to first and foremost listen to newspaper say and jump to a conclusion to run to say this was unfortunate or that was unfortunate. No, I wouldn't do that. What I would do first and foremost was to see the audit methodology, see the report coming from the Office of the Auditor General, do analysis of that, and look at the audit opinion from the Auditor General on the audit manager of that particular case before I would run to conclusion. Mind you, most of our newspaper will come up with speculation. Those kind of speculative thought process in giving the report may not be realistic as per the real result coming out. So I would be mindful, very mindful, when those reports are coming out from the initial stage, take some time, review the reports, and try to jump into the report before I run to conclusion. Now,
okay.
Let me go, because of time, I'll send it. Just 2 seconds. 2 seconds, please.
Okay. Sylvester, Front Page Africa, Rodney is an investigative journalist.
Mm-hmm.
Anything he puts in his newspaper means that he has investigated that before he put it in the newspaper. Just to be clear on that.
Okay, and yeah, I agree. I agree.
Give me a chance.
I agree with your perspective, my dear sister. But yeah, it's why I was saying also.
This is hypocrisy to the max.
That's
I will.
I do agree with your perspective, Sis Grace, on this line very seriously. Yeah, he's an investigative journalist. But there have been instances where sometimes he reported some issue had not been the facts. So that's issue of that we all investigated before. So there have been instances. So that's what I'm saying to you. When it comes to the issue about audit report, what I'm saying here from a professional perspective, Grace, is that we should not rely on newspaper issue. The report should be there. It is part of the 1972 Act that created the GSC is clear. The Auditor General funding should be published. if the Auditor General funding should be published. Wait and see. What I'm saying to my brother here is, don't rely on the report from the newspaper. Wait for the Auditor General fundings. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Let me go to Lofa. But in the scene, I mean, according to this report, a review is quoting the GSC report now. A review analysis of the GSC funding shows that the former president Weah administration left net commitment obligation of US $9.6 billion for President Boycott to finance, contrary to the assertion by the former president that he left $14 million in the national coffers. Okay, Lofa, go ahead.
So let me just say this, right, Tomalin. Here's my thing. Ever so often, we tend to play blind eyes when it is in our best interest. I see my brother Peewee here today. He wants to discredit Front Page Africa because
I'm not discrediting
because it's not going in his direction. I mean, again, I think that's for him it's fair, but let's be realistic here. Both sides of the token. If this was information given to the boycott government, they had adequate time, enough opportunity to have done their own evaluation to provide accurate information to the public. Did they do that? I don't think they did that. So I sense lies from both sides of the token here. So I don't want to dwell on this. What's on my mind is the issue of the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court and what what's his name? Yeke Koluba spoke to people who should be at the forefront of transparency, and not just Yeke Koluba, but let me also credit Amara Conan for the fact that he also spoke to this thing where Darius DeLorme, Madam Yombly Kanga Lawrence, and other senators are doing these things. Look, there are young Liberians who actually believe they deserve better quality education, health care, opportunity to jobs, so that they can start their professions. Unfortunately, we see the likes of Darius DeLorme, who outside of government, and unfortunately, we gave him opportunity, and we know that outside of government, he's nowhere else because he has no professional backing, and he is here using that to exploit the situation. It is unbelievable. But you know what? On this public platform, I want to say to Liberia and Liberians, I'm sorry. My sincere apologies that I put my face in the camera. I campaigned, I advocated, and put my finances behind Darius DeLorme to put Liberia to what she's going through. My sincere apology. We will continue to do what we can in the best interest of Liberia, and we know that we'll move Liberia forward. But I can't say nothing more than that. But to say to you, it is disheartening to know that the likes of Darius DeLorme, who portrayed themselves as the lights, will actually present what we will consider calamity to the people of Liberia. Thank you.
Peabody, what on your mind?
Well, there's a lot on my mind, but I'm just going to go ahead and say one thing that's on my mind, and I just want to add to what Judah just said before I say what's on my mind. That even I personally supported Darius DeLorme financially, heavily as well. There were several occasions that we put money together. We raised money to support him, and even when he lied about the flight and the business class and all of that, I was on one of our network and stood there to cover that story. I brought about the kick plane that the government lied about kick plane. If you get about the kick plane, I brought about that to defend it, but I've not been encouraged by Darius DeLorme at all. I've not been encouraged because he said one thing. He tried to go against his friends in the Senate, but he's doing the same thing, but in a different way. And then try to go against them, especially when it came to collecting money, $30,000 and this the thing. Oh, I will give all my salary to this project and all of that. We did not. So I've been very disappointed by a man that because I normally don't support politicians like that, but I supported Darius DeLorme heavily, and he can attest to it. But what's on my mind is the government cannot resolve some of the issues that's going on. They are just jumping from one thing to another to confuse the Liberian people. The issue of 10 is still ongoing. There's still some of these people who have not even been confirmed are going to other offices and other places that they are in charge, using letterhead and telling people not to listen to the legitimate people. I think that it's wrong. I think the Supreme Court did put a state order on this kind of thing on the appointee, and I think they need to abide by the rule. You can't be going and say they appointed you, you're using, going to financial institution that shouldn't do business with the people that are there and all of that. I think it's sad for the country. You have not been confirmed. You are not in the Supreme Court have come. This is the thing that people don't have no regard for the law in the country. A lot of them don't. They don't care because they have personal relationship with some of these people on the judges and other people. They have no regard. I got a cousin who's a judge in Liberia, and many times people reach out to me and ask me to talk to him. I tell them, get the heck out of my face. Go and do what you need to do. I'm not going to do that. I don't do that. But it's sad that they will go and violate the law at the end of the day. Oh, we've been knowing each other for a long time. This person knows this person. And I had a damn thing get done in the country, and then we'll go back 6 years. That's what's on my mind.
What's on your mind?
Well, because let me just say 2 seconds of concerning Darius Dillon, and that's the reason concerning Darius Dillon. I never supported Darius Dillon from day one, and that's the reason in Jeremiah the Bible says that, especially when you read from 30 to 32. I want to be specific. Say when men have to start to let women lead in some of these things. Most of the majority of the women that I knew did not support this man in a senatorial position. And the reason why is that when he called me and asked me, some people were telling him that I did not support him. He called me and asked me, he texted me and called me and asked me, why, Grace, you don't support me? And I told him, because the same thing I told George Lupo, I will never, ever in my life support anybody to run for senator in Liberia that does not have an associate degree, because I founded a nonprofit organization in 2009 for education, and I would not divert from that my belief that people should be educated in that form to sit in such a position to make rational decisions for the country. And that's the reason why I wasn't supporting him, because I knew at the end of the day, when you are not a certain standard and you get in that position, you will not make rational decisions. What is on my mind? Police preparedness. Honorable, I don't know, Honorable or Greg, or what is the title to his name? Director or Gregory Coleman. Sir, police preparedness is very crucial for maintaining the public safety in Liberia. The police need to be prepared in that they have to be giving drills. You have to have consistent communication with the police and communication system for them to have for the safety of the people in the country. So when they call, when something happens, the police can be there. Also, we need police to consistently be trained in the country every month, because the last government, we did not see that. It was not part of the agenda. So we want to see this police preparedness in this government. And I'm sure that Honorable Cuomo can deliver this. But right now, as Peabody said, the country is helter-skelter. Everything just going, too many things are happening when it comes to safety and security in the country because our police are not prepared. So that's what on my mind.
Rob, what on your mind?
Listen, Dillon is a certified crook. He's a con artist. He's an epitome of a con artist. That's what it is. And I'm glad that I didn't support him. So to Lofa, I'm sorry, but the brother said you keep apologizing. Don't keep apologizing like Dillon has apologized to his mother. Every time he does something, mama, sorry. But that's just who he is.
So you say shame his mom?
Yeah, he shame his mom. He always shame his mom. The man is a pathological liar. But that's for a different topic. But look, you put this, Tomalin, you put what the president said was in the account, as opposed to what Joseph Boakai says he met in the account. You put all of this to bed. If only you release the statement of the consolidated accounts as of January 19th. And so I challenge the government to just do that. I don't care what the central bank says. I don't care what the report says. Release the statement. Simple. That's not your money, right? If somebody is lying, and if you're saying that the former president misled the people, I challenge you to release the statement. Do it tomorrow, and we'll put this to rest. We caught George Weah a liar. If his report was not factual, and we call you a liar if you're trying to deceive the people. Release the statement of the consolidated account, because remember, the central bank was summoned by the Senate to testify to this very issue, and they said per that record on January 19th, they quoted the exact amount quoted by the former president. But hey, somebody is lying. Someone is not telling us the truth. So how do we know this? Publish the statements. Simple as that. You don't need an investigation on this matter. Publish the statement, and let's see who's lying. Simple as that.
It's that simple. Yeah.
Simple. Publish the statements, and then we'll know who's telling the truth and who's lying. But what's on my mind? 10 seconds, man. Look, the roundabout at ELW is coming together. I'm not sure you saw the pictures. Those guys seem to be doing a phenomenal job. I just hope that it turns out the way it is on the design. I was looking at the traffic light and all of that stuff like that, but they're doing a great job so far, man. And so I hope the government got some kind of plan to keep full selling. There should be no street selling in that area, man. Find a market, let those folks go and sell that market. Keep the main roads kind of clean and neat. But publish the statement. Publish a statement.
Karabo, what on your mind?
Well, I have many things on my mind, but I'm going to say a few things.
Yeah.
Number one, I would say to President Boyka, walk into history with your hand and heads up high. Do not listen to detractors. Do not listen to any dying warrior to say they have people under their control and they're going to come and intimidate the people. Don't listen to that. History will handsome and reward you, President Boyka. Go ahead with your plan. In fact, if you succeed within 100 days to have the War Crime Code issue established firmly behind us, for me, that's the best 100 days delivery in your administration. It will be a booming success, and you will not regret doing that. Investors will flock to Liberia, will follow you, because your commerce minister said you intend to establish the tourism authority, and you want to personally seize this process. If you have this code done, people will come to see the different warlords even on trial. Okay? So it's a good thing for your administration. I think you should do that. The second thing I want to talk, which is mine also, is, there has been much talk about the Senate. Now, I'll continue to say, the Senate is a center for trading jobs. My brother Lofa is making reference to Senator Corner. Senator Corner has been written reminding President Boyka of his campaign promises that he should appoint somebody from Bapulu County. That's his right to do. That's what he was elected to do under the executive law. The executive law actually says, every county should be represented, in the cabinet, basically. Other presidents have tried to do that. They didn't succeed. But the Senate or the legislature, for that matter, is a political theater. So what they're doing there is not really strange. What is, for me, unacceptable is that the Senate, with Senator Corner on it, the guy who led the integration of the planning and finance to get together to become finance and development planning, would be part of that Senate to confirm the Accounting and Controller General of the Republic of Liberia, who does not have a CPA, when the regulations say to be Accounting and Controller General, you must be a member of a professional accounting body. There are few professional accounting bodies. You must have CPA, You must have either ACC, or different qualification. This current accounting and controller general is not a member of any of those bodies, because you are the you are the chief accountant for the republic. You're going to regulate the practices of accountancy in the country. You can't be less qualified than the CPA holder. Okay, so for me, I thought all of them let their guard down on that, and I think they were all doing it because they wanted that maybe somebody to be appointed. I'm sure all of them have sent names to President Bouaka. I mean, if there is a senator that has not sent name to the executive, let them raise their hand publicly and say, I have not sent any recommendation to the executive, including anyone who is making comment on Facebook. They've all done that.
AMK.
They've been successful with it. So I mean, we all know we hear so much thing. So and the last thing I would say is, President Bouaka, be strong. If you are not strong in 2025, you'll be a linked up president, because there will be active campaign going on, both by your vice president, by 4 other senators, and other people who outside the government. Liberia will be in a full swing campaign mode, and nobody, your budget will not even pass easily.
Well, what's on my mind? This guy who was nominated at LTA, he's right now there's a prohibition by the Justice in Chamber that if at LTA tenure people are still working, but Abdullah Kamara is still going around impersonating as chairman of LTA. He should stop it. That's fraud. He should stop what he's doing. It's not good for him. And the tenure issue is under review. The Justice Kabah have issued a prohibition on it, and the Justice Minister was confirmed yesterday. He was commissioned, so he's in office now. The President have asked him to handle that issue, and the government of Liberia will be represented by the Justice Minister in court at the Supreme Court. So this guy, he should stop it. He should stop going around impersonating why they have a chairman of LTA, Abdullah Kamara. It's shameful and disgraceful. He need to stop it. What happened yesterday at NASCOM was disgraceful too, and people have not, even people in the government have criticized what happened yesterday. It was ugly, very ugly to do what they did yesterday. And also, lastly, the director of police. I understand that people are saying giving conflicting information about what happened in Kinjal, in Kidmouth. He needs to get his facts together and step up to the plate, because Abi Kumar, people are rooting for him to be the next director of police. If I may say this, if he's not careful, Abi will have that job, and Abi, I have confidence in Abi, and I believe Abi can do a better job. I believe so. So you gotta be factual. I listened to Abi press conference. He was very open about the drug issue. Abi said they collected $385,000 and the money is in the safe still. Okay, he didn't take a dime from it. The money is there with the drugs. So with that kind of information that he's giving to the public, and he's on for a good start. But lastly, guys, I've been a good show, and let us continue to push for the War Crimes Code, so that we can finally bring a closure to this issue, because everyone is concerned about it. And don't make no mistake, those who are part of this war crime, who committed the crimes in the country, they have influenced the elections in Liberia over the last 3 cycles. Take it or leave it. They have influenced the elections in Liberia. And now it's about time that we have a level playing field, and so Liberians can really vote for leaders where they want to see president, and so forth. But so right now, I just say that I think we are done for the day. If somebody got anything to say, we can end the show. Anybody got anything to say?
Yeah, I want to say something quick. Got a minute. There's something I forgot about. Just give me a few seconds. The asset recovery issue. I know Grace mentioned that earlier. Here is my take on that. The essence of asset recovery is actually to make people learn that it's not good to steal from the public when you are given a public trust. There was a lot of theft committed under the Unity Party government for 12 years. I think that asset recovery, President Bouaka should extend because asset recovery has no limitation. Stealing people think is a crime. Such crime has no statute of limitation. I think they should start from 2006. There were many people who came in government were very poor. Today they got duplexes, they got story building, they got market building all over the country. We should go after them to justify how they earn this because their salary at the time could not allow them to earn those things. Let's start from 2006 and recover student assets from government.
Well, I like what Councilor Gongo used to say on his campaign show. He said if he was president, he would do what they call lifestyle audit, which is good though, because every 3 months, if I take office, I declare my asset. Then after 3 months or 6 months, you see me with this car I'm driving. I cost $50,000. I've been in this big structure. So you gotta ask you, Tomalin, how come? How you got all of these things? You just changed took office, which is good. I hope President Baga can his story too.
And that was one of the reasons why I admire him. Until he made a statement about we must sit on old mat to plant new one. I said, okay, but I guess he's just looking to join the same old boat. And this is where he got us now.
Who that?
Yeah, Councilor Gongler. He said he said we should sit on old mat to plant new one, and look where we are now.
They said that literally.
I want to say
on Spoon Network. He did on Spoon Network. So he said we should sit on old mat to plant the new one.
That is not happening.
So
that's why he said.
If I can just make my closing statement because I have.
Well, just before you close the statement, I also need to pick with other here tonight.
Oh God!
All of you sitting on the platform, you're men. I'm the only woman on this platform. March is Women History Month. Nobody told me, Happy Women History Month.
We wrong you. We wrong you, man.
I'll comment on your post.
Happy Women's History Month. We wrong you.
I should give a assignment to my students to go write about women who mathematicians who made great achievement in the field of mathematics. I give that as an assignment to them. I said, if you do this, you get 20 points.
Okay. So I just wanted to continue. I want to say before you come in, Happy Women History Month to all women, especially Liberian women. You please pamper your wives and your girlfriend and during the month of March. You do some nice things. Let them go to the spa. You're getting some leg rub and feet rub.
They should be nice too.
You see, anyway, hey, Happy Women's History Month. That's good. Women, they can't underestimate the role that women play in the development of society. So you're right, and we're knuckleheads for now, acknowledging that. Great show. As always, our closing argument continues to give our people options in terms of the information. You may not all like what we have to say, but at the end of the day, we're contributing our thoughts towards the growth and development of society. I say that, look, I would like to commend President Boyka on the bold step he's taking when it comes to the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court. I think that's a legacy achievement, and hopefully we will, be able to see the conclusion of that particular journey. In addition, the asset recovery team, another great option. I'm just asking that we be able to modify to make sure that we're building the best relationship possible to get that accomplished. I think it's in the interest of the country, and it's something that we should all look forward to. In the conclusion here, I would say this: look, when people talk about referencing newspaper articles as the justification for corruption, it shows you the state that we're in as Liberians. These were the same individuals who a few weeks ago sat here and celebrated Rodney Sear when he broke news of the former president leaving a certain amount of money in the consolidated account. Mind you, the same people were asking others to read. If you give them pen and paper or paper to read some of the things that are included in those documents, they will refuse. In fact, I have proof. When the core and PIP reports were released, in those reports, auditors asked the government to go and do a forensic auditing. Individuals omitted that. In the end, they thought that Weah was not guilty or Weah did not have anything sinister going on because the core report vindicated him. But if you read that report, there are still doubts about the different activities that occur under the former president. With that being said, I do believe that the General Auditing Commission investigation would definitely uncover what we all thought or believed had transpired. Whether there's inaccuracies from both sides, the only thing that can tell us will be those reports from the General Auditing Commission. And if there are suggestions that based upon the initial findings and all they have actually checked when it comes to auditing that this is the case, then we are to actually be accepted for that. But we hope that they publish this documentation.
There's a monologue closing.
But at the end of the day, no problem, Ahmed P. Don't distract me. At the end of the day, what remains is that we have a really terrible president in George Weah of corrupt individuals who put the state of the Liberian economy at risk, an individual who should be held accountable. And we look forward to this administration in 100 days showing us that they're better than the Weah administration. At that time, we would then be able to make our statements against the Boyka administration.
The boy finally coming back to your uncle. Coming back to your uncle.
I hope it can.
You have supported your brother-in-law, George Weah.
We'll bury the PFOA now.
You're not my pew. If you talk to me on the back, it goes the truth.
So the issue about this, I mean, the 100 days, I hope the Boyka administration don't consider, okay, this camera booth that they have put up out there, because it just proves how they are just simply trying to just react.
What's up with that booth?
No. So Tomalin, here's the thing, right? Today, when
I want to is a great thing.
First and foremost, let me tell you, that booth is not a great thing because they're reacting. You know why it's not a great thing? When I went to work today, first thing what I did was I contacted several people, right? I contacted a few of my rangers that I train on some of their tech softwares. I contacted a few police officers, and of course, I spoke to a superintendent. And they all said to me that, okay, here is comparing a detection measure to that of response measure is delusional. What that booth is, right, is simply to detect. The booth will simply detect what happens and then leave you at it. Remember, that camera it just captures what is happening, what the focus needs to be. And these people didn't simply just talk about it.
No, detect and detect.
No, there's more to it, Lofa. You know, tomorrow we'll talk about
detect and detect.
Detect and detect what? Detect
and detect.
Look, and here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
First and foremost, when it comes to that, again, I'm not speaking from a security perspective, but again, with my involvement in information technology, security specifically, your first concern should be the response. Let me give you this simple analogy. The most recent incident that took place on Facebook, guess what happened? When we were down for 15 minutes, what happened? Facebook focused, even though they have mechanism put in place to defend any form of hacking or anything. When we went down, their first concern was, how can we come back up? Within 15 minutes, we were back up, and they were very responsive. That is how it should be when it comes to security. You cannot focus on, no matter what you do, humans have a way of being able to defeat what is happening. They put that over there. First and foremost, you have not conducted enough training to make sure that you can support that. Secondly, you are not capacitated, all right? In a way, you're not even providing adequate response. Every time you call the police, first of all, guess how long it takes for them to show up? 25, 30, they sometimes don't even show up. Why aren't you focusing on your response first? Then you can start to enhance that process with the extra technology that is needed. Instead, you want to focus on technology first, and then you leave out the EMS, the response team, and all of those other things we support.
It is part of the response process. That's what we're saying.
And again, here, that part of it, I think what they were doing here is they're simply trying to show off. I think they dropped the ball on that one, only for people who simply want to defend.
Gregor Coleman on the show.
I don't think Gregor Coleman knows exactly what he's doing.
For me, personally, I will commend the Liberian National Police, RG, the Inspector General Gregory Coleman on this one. I've been going through, currently I'm doing something in security science. So basically, we have some discussion on those things. I mean, to detect and to deter is very important into our primary implementation of policing. what kind of structure of policing we want to put into place. Now, this booth we're going to be having 2,500 of the booths around Monrovia and its environment. That's going to help tremendously in terms of increasing the metropolitan security across our city, right? Those high crime-based areas, like the Pingsay area, the Banansay area, the Douala area. It's a structural kind of an octopus tactics they try to deploy to ensure that you curb crime. It's going to help us a lot. And let me commend them. It's not only one. That was a symbolic introduction of the program, inauguration of the program yesterday. But it's going to be 2,500 of those booths. We should commend that. We'll be having some issue with the way we implement that on that. So I will commend the RGU. Quickly, before I rest all yet for this evening, I listened to my runaway brother saying that I want you to understand clearly here that the issue of our budget, we run a cash-based budget. It's not that we're praising the municipal, we run a cash-based budget. You should really understand time to time, the government, if you run a cash-based budget, the meaning of that is when we collect the money, we spend the money. We don't have money reserved sitting down. No, we collect, we spend. We collect, we spend. It's a cash-based budget we run in the Republic of Liberia. So if the government, if you listen to the president, it's not necessary that the president didn't leave $40 million in the coffers of the country. We left $40 million, but there are other government expenses that we incur. If you incur those expenses, moving forward, you have to do virtual to have those money run through. So it's a cash-based process. So my dear brother, we need to understand this. I know you should be the finance man, right? But again, what we do, some of us, we marshal ourselves with understanding of the areas we have to take our time. We don't have to sometimes be emotional and say, we praised them yesterday and we don't want to know. I have never gotten involved into that. I've been one of those individuals that will always be very careful as to how I will have to do my engagement process. But to haphazardly run with conclusions that are outside the box, I mean, we'll call it the book. And that's the reason why LeBron are totally enthused about most of the way we run to conclusion about situations. So let all of you reminded here that the government run a cash-based budget, and when we do something, we have to spend other money. So you collect the money won't be sitting there. No. Thank you.
Let me do my 1 minute, Tomalin. Listen, the last time I got arrested, well, I wasn't arrested, but people say I didn't have a driver license. I showed them my Georgia driver license. And by the way, my Georgia driver license is an international license. The police said we must go to the police said if I don't give him money, we'll go to the police. I said, let's go to the police station. The next thing I know, the man started opening the back of my car to get inside to go to the police station. That my car, you want drive? How you arresting someone and you want to get in my car to go to the police station?
I don't even driving like bro. I don't.
They didn't vote to purchase vehicles for police.
But somebody was at night. I want to do it at night when the road free at night. I can get in my car and start to drive. But by the way, Liberia topped the list of the most corrupt police forces in the region. Hey. They can bribe, they can beg. Liberian police can beg. You will kill somebody to be in the region.
No, and I ain't no, not how it is. You talking about Nigeria?
In the air? No, Nigeria came second. Nigeria came second.
But you think somebody else?
They can beg, they can look, you can be driving at night, you will kill somebody to be in that trunk. The man will ask you for beer. Boss man, beer, yo. You got one beer yet? Anything for a man? Huh? But what you got champion for now? You want beer? You drinking beer at work? You won't get drunk at work? So the camera right there, if you look at the camera on top of the boot, the camera is just right on top of the boot. So maybe the camera is just to watch them for not stealing or not bribing. I mean, that's what it is. But I agree with Lofa 100%. The response is essential, it's important. You can't just put all these things in place and you don't have a great response system. You know what I'm saying? It's like police take forever to come. This is the reason why a lot of fortunate Liberians like us who are fortunate, a lot of times we're spending a lot of money on security. We're spending a lot of money on security. You got to have this amount of security that you get. You got to do this, you got to do that because you got to protect yourself, right? And so, Robert, have you followed Liberian? No, my brother, leave me alone, man. But anyway, so the response is important. The response is important. And Lofa, Mr. Lofa, Tomalin,
yeah,
they're gonna build 25 of those things. But the last time I checked, the Unity Party people, they made fun of George Weah for making time to dedicate every small project. I was embarrassed when I saw the president go to that small booth yesterday.
Yeah,
to dedicate that small booth.
That's another thing.
Why he said that the commissioner didn't do it? Why he said the police chief didn't do it? Why is it
Okay.
the foreign minister didn't do it?
Also,
But when it was John Weah time, they said that John Weah was less busy. He was self-centered, and he went around dedicating everything. Yesterday, that small little booth, they put balloons all over it for the whole president to stop.
Entire day. And as a matter of fact, right, Robert, you know what? Right after the
see on Friday, guys.
get what happened? The old man told all them to go home. He said, no good work he did because Facebook was down.
Okay. Have a nice day, man.
Lofa, when are you inviting me on across Africa?
Whenever you're ready, brother, let me know. But guys, we can't forget though, Henry's birthday was yesterday, I think, right?